What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. Just made it home last night. It's Friday morning, Friday afternoon, actually. I just got out of bed. It's like 1:42 in the afternoon here in Central Time, and worn out, beat. Kind of glad it's Friday, so I don't feel obligated to, put in another couple days of work after just getting off the road for these last 14 days. But, I'm excited to be home, man. Miss my wife, miss my kids. Can't wait to see them this weekend and, just get back into the groove of living a normal life. So, yeah, it's been a good time, I do want to thank real quick Mark from Texas Performance for keeping my bike on the road and keeping it looking good and operating correctly. Thank you, sir. TexasPerformanceMC.com or Texas Performance MC on Instagram to check him out. And if you're in Cedar Park or Austin area, go to Cedar Park. Check him out. Check out his shop. See what he has in stock. Let him know what you need to get done and get it done. But yeah, this trip, man, it was amazing, and I'm glad that these guys we were able to kind of sit down at least one more time and talk about it. It was really hard because every night was such a new experience and a new place that it was really hard to just not live in the moment and live in the place and see what just experience it. So the last night, basically the last night of the trip, we finally forced ourselves to sit down and just talk about the rest of the trip. And, and that's pretty much what this whole podcast is going to be about. The other good thing about this trip, man, it was finally a chance for me to, really see what this suspension is about, this Olin stuff, right? So as you guys know, we, Big Bear sponsor this podcast. We're running the Olin's piggyback rear shocks with the Nix 22 front end, all of it revalved and set up specifically for me from Kevin at Big Bear. And after this trip, I've put down about 6,000 miles on this setup, ridden across, flat plains, mountain passes, coastal switchbacks, foothill sweeper, just about every type of terrain you could think of. And, I don't really... I suck at this, but, I've ran other brands before. On the last 4 bikes I've done, I've ran, Legend Suspension, Progressive, and Race Tech, and, Work Shocks, all these things. And, to me, this setup just blows everything out of the water. My confidence in riding higher speeds and cornering has gone up just due to the stability and, just the traction I felt going through the cornering. It's pretty insane. Sorry, I'm kind of rusty into this podcast stuff, but pretty much it's allowed me to basically push myself, through corners and giving me so much more confidence in riding. So I fully don't see myself ever running any other suspension other than other than Olin's. So honestly, guys, check out Kevin, Big Bear Performance. Give him a call. Talk to him, 909-478-7788. Let him give you some more technical details of what this suspension is going to do for your touring bike or your, Harley Davidson in general. And, he's a very good dude as far as his enthusiasm for suspension and tuning them and the performance behind it, braking and all this type of shit. He's going to be able to give you everything you need to know and be the best guy to have in your corner when going this route on your performance motorcycle. So bigbearperformance.com, 909-478-7788. Give Kevin a call. Let him know you heard about him through this podcast. I also want to thank my boy Brian at Paint Huffer Metal Flake. Didn't get a chance to swipe through Phoenix on the way back, but I'm looking forward to making a trip out there later this year to talk with him again, and as well as see FXR Division, Danny G. We got quite a few people lined up. Tony from Ramjet. Looking forward to, might just have to fly out there for a weekend and see what goes down. So, but anyway, check out painthuffer.com if you want to get some flakes or some other products for your project in question, or go to Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram, and you can check out a lot of amazing artists. If you're not a painter and you're looking for, some ideas for how you want to do your bike, that's a good place to start and a good place to find a great painter for your project. It's not always going to be a guy like me. It might be a guy like Valley Customs or Lucky Strike or just tons of other really talented painters out there that are going to, be available by seeing his website. So anyway, check him out, painthuffermetalflake.com. Painthuffer.com, and also if you use Fast Life at checkout, you get 15% off your purchases. So that's a good thing, right? I also want to thank John Jessup. We missed him on this trip, which sucked. I so badly wanted to see this dude. I know you guys were following him. He did some riding. He went out to the FXR Jam. He's also hosting the West Coast FXR Jam, which is coming up. So check out their Instagram, which is going to be Dream Rides John. And also check out their website, teamdreamrides.com, where you can pretty much check out their online store and all the great products they sell. Use Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. And don't forget, if you're in the Bay Area, the NorCal area, you can go to his shop where they do performance builds, services, bike sales, in-house dyno tuning, everything you could want. He's right there. He's a great dude, good friend, and just a real motorcycle enthusiast, which is where you should be spending your money anyway. I also want to thank Lindahl Brakes for coming through on the rotors and the brake pads on this bagger that we've been riding across country. Man, if you guys have followed me for a while, you've known that I've been running Lindahl wheels and rotors and stuff on my last, my gold FXR, my last performance bagger, and this current one. Hands down, they got the sexiest products on the market when it comes to their wheel and rotor combinations. Man, you really can't beat the look. So with all the people out there going towards, performance builds, and a lot of people are going to the BST route, which is, I'm not saying anything bad about them, but just it's one wheel. There's one wheel, and your bikes all look the fucking same. And I'm sorry, but that's not cool, in my opinion at least. And if my opinion matters, and whatever, I don't know. Fuck, I'm just rambling right now. But anyway, go check out Lindahl Brakes on Instagram. Check out all the products they sell. LindahlBrakes.com if you want to order some rotors, pads, or wheels for your bike. And also, you can use Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. So you can't beat that. It's going to come in real handy. So, keep that in mind. Whew. Is that everybody? I don't know. Anyway, I'm happy to have this podcast going. I thank you guys for your patience while we were on this trip. I'm going to be releasing another one just after this one. So enjoy this. This is me and my homies on our trip.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Yeah, you should. If you're going to talk, be easier. So, let's get some energy, boys.
Energy.
Yeah.
Trying to find it all day.
Come on.
Yeah, I know you have, boy.
It's been a long day.
Fell asleep a couple times on the bike.
Oh, I know what I did.
Took you about 5 o'clock till your hangover wore off. Yeah, all day deal.
I'm surprised I didn't have a hangover, but I was dragging ass all morning.
Man, you
Chugging that goddamn Captain Morgan like it's going out of style.
Courageous.
Yeah.
Drinking that shit like I drink water. I was thirsty.
This shit
Lord,
lemon.
Lord.
This shit spicy to the motherfucker.
So we got to get back where we left off on the last podcast. So basically, we're looking at day 3.
Oh, Lord.
So much shit's happened since then.
Silt to Salt Lake.
No, that was Silt to Wendover.
Wendover, yeah.
Yeah, so
So we want to do like a recap.
yeah, let's just
Station
recap
by station.
everything, and if there's something specific that took place in that time frame that people want to talk about, we'll just run down that list. You know what I mean? But just give them a play-by-play. I think the next couple of days is like the Matt story.
Yeah, bro.
Oh man! But as we're speaking right now, we're on day 13, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're about 450 miles from home from the Dallas dudes, and 700,
Another
600.
120, so, yeah.
600 for you East Texas guys.
Yeah.
We're in Muleshoe,
Texas.
Yeah.
Texas, with no clue.
Never heard of it.
But yeah, so here we are. But yeah, so day 3 we ended up leaving Silt, and the goal was to get to the salt flats before the sun went down and try to get some pictures and shit. But we left smooth.
Yeah.
Pretty early.
And then probably, what would you say, like right when we got into Utah is when Matt's wheel bearing went out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it something Valley?
Green Valley or something.
Green Valley, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like right when we had to start going north to Salt Lake from 70, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Larry noticed that your wheel was wobbling like a motherfucker.
Well, I noticed it, and I signaled him like,
Did you
what's
just try
going
to act
on?
like it wasn't happening? Like, I'm not even gonna look at it.
I was just trying to, I was just trying to throttle out of it. A lot of times, doing about 80, and then all of a sudden I'm having a lot of little death wobble.
It was crazy because that little stretch right before that happened, dude, I was doing Facebook Live or Instagram Live.
Right.
Yeah.
We were all had our cameras out. We were just
Yeah.
kind of, it was just like the smoothest.
Because there was nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing out there.
there was almost no cars on the road. There was no wind. There was no curves. It was just like, it was kind of a peaceful ride because we've been used to doing all these curves and riding through wind and all this shit the days before. So it's kind of hard thinking back that far now, right?
It feels like forever.
Seems like forever. It's hard to remember.
It's crazy how it runs into each day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. I wouldn't have anticipated that, but it was almost a continuous flow with, we had benchmarks and deadlines and things like that, but we were also doing things that were kind of dictated by the misfortunes of the first,
3 days?
was it 4 out of the first 7 days or something like that? We were dealing with bikes and we were behind schedules, so
Pretty much.
We made it to our destination every day, but
we absolutely did.
We were just kind of, just the issues we had. But the Matt ended up. So what happened? What was your perspective of that thing?
Well, like I was saying, I was doing about like 80, 90, and I got the death wobble and able to get out of it. And I was probably doing maybe 60. And yeah, I know. I noticed I could still ride it, but it was just slow. So I signaled Larry over to see if he could see anything. And he was like, your pulley. And he saw the pulley bouncing up a lot more than it should have. And so finally, when we did pull over, we were all at that gas station. I went and looked at it, and I saw it was just all chewed up and pieces of it just hanging out.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So it was like it was the pulley side bearings that went out. And so, so if you were looking at it while you're riding, it would look like the pulley was just going all over the place. Yeah. So it was 140 something or 150 something miles. You got to ride in a tow truck.
Yeah. Tried to make it to the Harley store that we were going in that direction.
Yeah.
It was actually closer to go backtrack, but we didn't want to do that. But y'all actually went ahead while I was waiting on the tow truck, and you were able to get the wheel bearings for me because by the time I got there, the place was closing down.
Yeah.
They closed at 5.
Yeah. What was the dude's name from the Raw 10 garage? I didn't catch his name.
Johnny?
Is it? I feel bad. Like, this is something I should know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I know everybody by their Instagram handles.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But he came through
Johnny.
hardcore,
It was.
and he ended up finding one of his friends that works at one of the dealerships to use a wheel bearing tool. And we were probably in and out of his shop with an hour.
Yeah, an
for
hour.
sure.
You know,
It was pretty quick.
put the bearings in. We had to kind of, grind it down a little bit. It was fucked.
Yeah,
I mean,
the hub was
was
bad.
yeah, it was like one of those things like, hey, this is a Band-Aid for a problem that's not going to go away.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
hope we'd make it through the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would. Of course, I thought my bike was going to last the whole trip regardless. So.
Is Johnny?
Johnny.
Nice. I feel bad for not knowing that. But yeah, he came through like a motherfucker. I mean,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
super cool dude and awesome shop, great painter, Raw 10 Garage. You guys should check him out.
Absolutely.
Took us to a cool little bar,
Yeah, the garage bar.
the garage bar. Yeah.
Just outside
And
downtown Salt Lake, right?
yeah. It's a cool little town. There's a lot of hipsters there,
Yeah.
But they make the neighborhoods nice, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up leaving there. So we got it all fixed out, right? And we were leaving there. We were trying to make it to the Salt Flats or whatever the case may be. And, we were kind of freestyling that night. So it wasn't like we didn't know where we were going to stay.
Good Lord.
And the fucking bugs from the Salt Lake, right?
Oh Lord.
Oh my God.
It was the worst bug storm I've ever been in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
He followed us, a little outside of town.
Yeah.
And we parted ways with him at the gas station, and as soon as we got back on I guess it was that interstate there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 80, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we made it like maybe 10 miles down the road, and we had to pull over and wipe the bugs off our visors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a shotgun blast.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it's all that salt and everything. You would think it was you wouldn't. I don't know. Did bugs like salt? I didn't know that was a thing.
Shit, I don't know.
Whatever the case may, it was water. It was the sun was going down and the bugs were out to play. So it was a shit show though.
Yeah, for sure.
Bikes were covered, helmets were covered, clothes were covered. And then we get to the salt flats and it's underwater.
Well, we made it there at night. First off,
What time did we make it there?
It wasn't that, dude. The sun was still peeking over the mountains there.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I got some pictures. It was
Remember,
just
because
barely coming over.
we were talking about it because we were supposed to catch another time zone for the Pacific,
Right.
and that was just over the mountains or into Nevada
Wendover,
there.
yeah, just past Wendover.
But we ended up staying in Wendover.
Oh man.
Worst place we stayed the whole trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
By far.
The place that we were going to didn't have no fucking windows.
There was windows on the backside though.
That's right.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I did notice there was windows, but they didn't make. Okay, so we pulled up into this one hotel, and the front of it just had a door and like tile, no windows whatsoever. So it was like creepy as fuck. You know what I mean?
Fucking jail cell.
Yeah, it looked super weird. So then I was like, man, like this, is this one of those pay by the hour kind of spots, or you know what's going on with this? So it was booked out. So we ended up having, I guess, what was the deal going on with the renter dude?
The guy that was renting at the location that we showed up at ended up also being able to rent places next door, which I've never heard of that. Yeah, I got keys for the other one next door too.
The other establishment.
And we didn't care at that point. It had been a long day with the bike issues and with the time spent in the shop. I mean, we were on the road all day, so by the time we were there, we just needed a room just for the night, and it was nasty. It was hood.
Air conditioner hardly didn't work.
It was one of those places, you go up to them and it's like the 2 levels, and all of it's got front porch. So as soon as you pull up, you see at least like 3 people who live there, and they're just sitting outside like on their stoop and seeing whoever's coming into their zone. And
Always have to say
Here for the night,
oh,
huh?
for sure, yeah, right.
Hell, we weren't there 5 minutes and somebody stole something off Larry's bike, some straps.
Absolutely right. Yep.
I
We
mean-
had just gone upstairs, and he by the time he come back down, it was he already had some things missing. So it was
James
not
took
good.
the whole bags off his bike and
Goddamn
took them in the
right,
room.
Why do you think I bought that damn thing for that type of situation?
Right.
Yeah, that place was like pretty sketchy, but
I didn't even sleep under the covers, bro.
I don't think I did.
Hell
I think I ended
Neither
up.
one of us.
Hell no.
Yeah.
I was on top of them bitches. No bed bugs for me.
Shower was warm though.
Yeah.
Shower did
That's all
the
that
job.
matters.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a good spot because it wasn't too far into town. So that next morning we were able to ride back to the Salt Flats, and I didn't see this part last year we went to. We actually rode to where they kind of, I guess they start staging or setting up for the actual races. So it's a lot further in on the Salt Flats than just off the highway like we did originally the night before. And we ended up getting some sick ass pictures, and whoever that photographer was
That
that was
fucking
there.
crazy.
It was really cool.
Oh man,
Can't remember his name.
let me look him up. We gotta give him a shout out.
That's one thing that I think is pretty cool about when you go to those like real photogenic places is there always are photographers there, and they usually want to take pictures of shit like us.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like just something else to put in their portfolio other than just like the reflection of the mountains on the water and shit. You know,
Fucking picture turned out so dope.
Yeah, dude.
I want to blow that up like a big fucking poster.
I don't know how you pronounce.
Is it Mormon? Something?
That's what it looks like.
It's something like
Mormon.
Mormon.
Mohrman. So Mormon.
Yeah, Mormon.
Yeah, Mormon.
Mormon what?
Mormon photo.
That's
Photo.
it. Mormon photo.
Mormon photo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then
It was pretty cool.
what's the dude from Indiana? He listened to the podcast. He walked up to us while we were there. Hey, man, are you the podcast guys? Like, what the fuck?
He said it was just outside of Chicago.
Chicago,
Or-
yeah.
So that dude rode his CBR
Yeah.
all the way to Born Free, down pretty much close to the route we did, but in like half the time.
He was
On a
Way,
CBR.
He was
way
getting-
more
Yeah,
gangster than we are.
That was cool as fuck.
That was super
He
cool.
was like, "What made you want to do that?" Because my friend said I
YouTuber
couldn't.
there too. He was.
Well, he said he had a
spitting
road
his-
glide and a street glide.
Yeah, he said he had 2
Yeah.
Harleys.
He said he wanted the challenge.
Yo,
Yeah,
that's
that's pretty
fucking
cool.
challenge. He
It's fucking
wins.
crazy.
It would be cool to try that. I would do that if I would probably do it on a booster or something. That way I can sit a little bit bigger.
Right.
Would you?
I'd do it. I'd try it.
Man.
It'd be cool to
Like
like.
getting beat up on these bikes.
Yeah.
I could only imagine doing that shit on a fucking
Man,
rocket.
not to jump forward, but it can't be no worse than Brian's bikes going across country.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So we ended up catching the Salt Flats again. It was a cool spot. Even though it was underwater, we couldn't ride on it. It still like provided a lot of cool photos and some pretty cool shit. We ended. What was the dude with the drone there?
He had a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
remember, it was
he was
like
pimping his
Walking
channel.
Tall.
Walking Tall or something.
Something
Yeah,
tall.
something tall.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
a
tall
tall
guy.
motherfucker.
He was.
And him and his dad and his uncle were doing. His dad was 72 or some
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah,
really,
72,
really
74, something
Yeah.
like
Big
that.
cross country ride. That was cool as shit.
Yeah, they were around the coast.
And then, so we ended up. It was kind of like one of those days because we were waking up. The Salt Flats was kind of like our. All right.
It was supposed to be the day before.
Yeah.
So we're still doing some catch up from that previous day, and we got that done pretty quickly in the morning. Spent some time out there, and the morning was perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that worked out well for us. But then by the time we got back on the road, then I think we were about back on schedule, if you will. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were still kind of freestyling at that point, but we were more back on schedule than we had been in a handful of days, which was nice.
Right,
We've
right.
been playing catch up for
And then
first 5. And then
Well, we had a 400-mile day though.
Yeah.
It was 400-mile day from Wendover to Reno.
Yeah.
Right.
which
So
sucked, by the way.
yeah, those
that
400-mile
sucks.
days are not the best.
No.
You know what I
I
mean?
wouldn't
Like
know.
I didn't care about the mileage, but just there's nothing
Yeah.
between those.
There wasn't nothing to look at
those
there.
cities.
You're just like riding in a valley between the mountains.
That was
Yeah.
arguably as boring as West Texas.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
Pretty
not as
much.
windy.
the only good thing with that is it wasn't as hot as West Texas.
Yeah,
Like,
True.
And it was something I've never seen before, so it was something different to look at, but it was still kind of.
But once we pulled up on Reno, I never really put much stake in Reno at all as a city, but Reno has
Reno's
got some
dope.
things going on for sure.
Yeah. And we didn't even see much of it.
We didn't get to go downtown or nothing because we were
Yeah.
running behind, but
But yeah, that town is dope. But so we ended up stopping in Winnemucca. The only reason I know that's from that fucking Johnny Cash song. It's like where he's saying all the towns he's been to and shit like that.
Been everywhere.
I've been
You got that?
everywhere, man.
Exactly. And so we went there. We had some good barbecue there. It was pretty good. Some
Yeah.
ribs,
Yeah.
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 And then we walk out and fucking Matt's front tire is flat.
Lord,
Yeah.
Lord.
Like,
In case you're wondering, Matt is also one that had a wheel bearing go out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we talked about his starting
Start-
issues on the last podcast.
That was like that was on day one.
Oh, forever.
It's practically every day. There's only been like 2 days on this trip that it's run smooth and didn't have a problem. So
Sounds like
The
fun,
day you
bro.
left. And probably tomorrow when we go home.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we end up walking out. Your tire's flat. It's a front tire. It's Sunday.
Fucking Sunday. That was the
with
part about it.
a spoke wire wheel.
Yeah, so you can't plug it.
Yeah.
And
Larry had an air pump, so we tried to air it up with his pump, and
yeah,
it wasn't pushing enough volume, and then the leak was pretty bad, so
Yeah.
it just didn't.
so Von Metal was hitting me up asking when we were going to be in town and shit, and I told him what the deal was, and he was like, "Well, hey man, just tell him just cover the gas or whatever the case may be, and I'll come pick him up." And that was like 170, 150.
170 or 180 miles. It was
one
a
way.
way.
One way.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
way.
one way.
So he
He
jumped
was
in his fucking van and he
big
came
time,
out and picked him up, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, man.
Big props to
Yeah.
that guy.
So
That was
I guess
on
the first
Father's
day,
Day,
yeah.
too.
So the first day you got it towed, your insurance covered it,
Yeah.
right? And then this time,
Insurance said
the
what
next day,
fuck,
Yeah, the next day.
the next day.
Yeah, so I guess they will only cover up to.
Oh no.
So I guess they'll only cover up to like 20 miles within the closest shop.
yeah,
And so since there was a shop nearby, they didn't want to tow it without me paying almost
Yeah.
$1,000.
Right.
So this is the other thing. It's like that shop. They had a Facebook page, right? And I guess
Yeah.
this is just me, kind of like talking shit, basically. But it's like if you're gonna play the social media game of some sorts, it's like I would think that you would have like this personable kind of connection. So I didn't expect like to reach out to them and be like, hey, come to your shop on Sunday, but I was like, hey, we're in your town, we have an issue. Facebook is on all your motherfuckers' phones, so I know you're seeing this. Or do you guys think that you have this thing in stock? If you do, that would like give us some kind of peace of mind. Okay, Matt, you catch a hotel here, you put the tube in tomorrow, and you're on the road.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't they didn't answer my message till we were in Lake Tahoe the next day.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that was way in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
everything was fixed.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So end up like so Von Metal came out. How was hanging out with that ride?
Oh man, he's a trip. He speaks what's on his mind, but he's cool. He's upfront and everything, and but he was real cool. I mean, as soon as he got there, he's like giving me a hug, like, "What's up, man? How's it going? Man, I'm here to help you out." And it was
the enthusiasm. Was
yeah,
good.
it was a lot. it was a lot to deal with up front, but it ended up it was actually a real fun trip. Talking to him, hearing some of his stories, telling some of the things that happened, and it was badass of him just to actually be willing to help.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he even kept saying it the whole trip. He was like, it's for Father's Day when he came out. He was about to eat tri-tip that he cooked, and he was so upset that he couldn't do it. But he was like, you know what? I'd rather help you. So
That's
that
bad.
was a big help.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we ended up. The rest of us left you there.
Again.
Yeah. And we pushed on to Reno and met up with Brian from TBJ. He was letting us stay in his backyard. Ended up having a really dope pad. Yeah. He just moved in there like 5 days prior to that, so his house was still like packed up and shit, but had a nice view of the suburbs of Reno, I guess you'd say.
Man, nice view of the mountains, the suburbs, everything.
Yeah, he
was
right
the
there
weed
on
store
the
he
top
goes
of
to. Yeah, that so that night we did that. We ended up going to Texas Roadhouse, which Cody doesn't like.
BJ's.
BJ's.
Roadhouse.
We
was
wanted to go
closed.
to Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
BJ's is money though.
BJ's was good.
It's alright.
It's alright.
It was a fun night though. It was like
it was fucking late
cool.
at that point, so we had to get what we could get.
Yeah.
By the time we got in town.
And by the time we got done eating, Matt and Von Metal was at the house.
Yeah.
Just got there.
So we spent like an hour and some change sitting out front, all talking and shit.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And then after that, me and Brian went and did a podcast, which you guys will probably hear after this one, which is the first one I ever got high on.
Oh boy, Lord,
good stuff.
Good stuff.
Talk about being lost in a conversation.
Be all in your feelings.
Wait, what?
And shit.
Where we at again?
I think the first half of that podcast we talked about weed for like the first 45 minutes.
Super entertaining.
Nice.
But yeah, so it was cool of both Brian. I mean, Reno just basically showed up and
Big time.
gave us a lot of love and I mean we're still on day 4, right?
Yeah.
So day 4, we're hanging out there. We do the Reno thing for that night, but the next day was even just as great. I mean,
for sure.
Fucking so Brian drops you off at Justin's shop, Von Metals, and then I hit up Justin. Was like, my front tire was starting to cup. We were coming down those some of those things, and you said you noticed that I was like taking corners and it was kind of like wobbling a little bit.
Just kind of hopping in the ass end,
Yeah, and I was like, man, I know it's not the suspension because that shit was dialed. So I felt the front tire and I felt it starting to cup a little bit, and so I hit him up and saw if he had a Commander 2 in stock, and he did. And then basically found out that the bearings need to be replaced too in the front wheel. So was able to get that back on the road pretty quickly. And Von Metal came through hardcore on us.
He did.
No kidding.
Got both me and Mike's bike
and your bike. And we all just waited right next to his shop.
Yeah.
Bro, I tell you what,
Dope
there's
bar.
There's a
little
dope ass
saloon
little bar
there.
there.
Oh,
What's that place called?
I think it was just called like the saloon.
Yeah, like
it's just one of them little places, and it worked out just
It
fine.
looked like a shack.
I'm just like,
I think it was the saloon.
It was kind of
I
hot,
think it was
so like,
Ye
man,
Olde
I was like,
Saloon or some shit.
I was like, James, you gonna go next door? He's like, yeah, let's walk over there. So we order beer. Next thing we know, Jacob comes in. We start drinking beer, playing pool.
They had a road atlas to every whorehouse in Nevada on the wall.
They did, didn't they? That's right.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. It's
So
one
we
of those
started
things.
playing-
We're day drinking at what, Monday? Was it Monday?
Yeah, and it's like noon.
Nobody in there. There's 2 people that you could tell they're in there all the time.
Right.
But we livened that place up.
Yeah,
Started
so
playing some pool.
We started playing pool and shit, and the
killing
kind
time.
of just bullshitting, being loud, and the bartender ended up giving us money to keep playing pool because she said we were entertaining.
Yep. I can only imagine sitting around with the same motherfuckers all the time.
It was pretty dead
Yeah.
there. But
That's crazy.
it's good.
It was a
time.
good time.
Yeah, we ended up getting that done, and then it's crazy. So where Brian lives, which I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that, but where he lives, basically, you just take, what was it, like not even 15 miles? What would you say?
It wasn't far.
10 miles?
Less than 10, probably.
10 miles up the road. What was it? Mount Rose?
Mount Rose. Mount
Yeah.
Rose was cool.
So this
Another
he didn't
hidden
plan
gem.
this shit. He didn't plan
Another
this
hidden
shit.
gem.
So we all link up. We're riding up on the Matt. You missed out because you were getting all your shit fixed.
Yeah, I was left behind again at the shop, getting my stuff fixed while they were out riding.
So we ended up following him. I'm still having a little bit of anxiety from the last time I rode up a mountain. So we got to and we get to like his little lookout point where I guess he said he goes up there and just like smokes weed the whole time.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's where I buy my weed from right there, and then that's my house. And
Well,
then,
you could see like 2 or 3 or there was
you
could see 2 cities from
Virginia
there,
City, Carson City,
and then there was one over the mountain.
Okay, yeah. So the thing that I hate myself the most on is that he talked a lot about the dirt riding he does, like off-roading, and I'm like, I've already done 2 podcasts with the dude, and we haven't brought this up yet, and I want to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
But the whole time he's like, yeah, I'll ride my bike up this hill, and then I'll drive the dirt back. I'm like, who the fuck does that? Like,
Yeah.
that's cool as shit, you know what I mean?
Oh man, he rides some badass toys.
And his bikes are different. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
They are unique.
And he rides the shit out
And
of
he
them.
rides the shit. Yeah, you're absolutely
That's
right.
what's cool about it, though, right?
Yeah.
He's just,
Right,
you know,
Absolutely.
he's like almost waiting for us, like doing it real slow, like he's kind of zigzagging back
He's
across
just
the
playing.
lane, waiting
Yeah.
on us to catch up.
He made the comment a couple times that he's like, yeah, I'm taking this guy out, I'm taking this guy out, this guy out, and it's like they're all there, they can all ride, but I just gotta keep waiting up for him, you know. I'm like, it ain't them, man, it's you.
Yeah.
Give yourself some credit. You rode the shit out of that bike, and I understand he's got a little home court advantage, but he rides the hell out of that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does. Yeah, he does.
But yeah, so we ended up going up to the top of Mount Rose, and right when we get to the top to his little smoke spot, fucking they're doing hang gliding off the shit. So
3 or
that
4
was
dudes up
I've
there.
never seen that in person.
I
That was
didn't
pretty.
either.
That was a sight to see.
I thought it was dope.
Yeah.
I thought
It looked good on Facebook.
Yeah.
So,
They scared the shit out of me jumping off.
Hey, man.
Just
Could you imagine that though? Like the steps that you got, like you're literally on a ledge.
I wanted to do it.
yeah.
I was
did.
ready, man.
I'd have tried it.
Fuck that, man. I got anxiety watching them
I
dudes.
was
Like
ready.
they literally just run off the side of a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
Was Jacob saying, "How the fuck do you practice that?"
You don't.
Which we ended up finding the answer.
Yeah,
to that.
we'll
You
get to
on
that.
the training.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, so it was just kind of crazy that like that was just taking place, and it was kind of mesmerizing just to watch it and like see them kind of like just stay, like they can almost control how long they stay in the air almost.
Sure.
Oh, they were getting higher than when they took off from.
Yeah.
What's that one? The second dude that went off, he's like, oh, that didn't look too good.
He like almost
He
stumbled
scares me.
off the motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple guys before him that leaped off. It was almost like a ballerina move, right? And this guy, he almost trips over his own fucking shoestring or something. And yeah, the instructor, whomever's like, that guy makes me nervous every time.
Man, that'd be wild.
What I mean, how like there's got to be like some YouTube's like hang gliding gone wrong or some
you
shit.
know there is. You
Other
don't-
than that
you don't want
one-
to look it up neither, because
Yeah.
even like a small accident, hang gliding is not going to be good.
No.
James, you're the one that showed me that one video. That dude that wasn't strapped in, that did the hang gliding
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
And he was just holding on the whole
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Holy shit.
He
Yeah.
was with another guy.
Yep.
Yeah, he was like tandem or some
Yeah.
shit like that.
It was. It was like he was learning, and the whole time he hit. I think he like separated his shoulder. It was something pretty significant, but well, he didn't drop. He didn't die.
didn't
but,
die.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
Could you imagine being on that fucking thing and not being strapped in? You're just literally holding on, and you're higher than a fucking
Like,
mountain and shit.
if you
Right
let go,
out,
you
yeah.
die.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I can't imagine doing it, period. But
exactly. Yeah, I figured just let other people do shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a great time watching them.
And it's it's a slow sport. It's a slow activity, right? So if you have something like that happen, you can't rush the process. You can be like, all right, we'll get down in 15 minutes. So you got to hold on that whole time. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. But did you die?
He's probably loaded off of YouTube now from almost dying and shit. Plus, you probably sued the company.
But that stop was only halfway up the mountain.
Yeah, that was only on one side of the mountain.
And then it was a great ride to the other side because that took us into fucking Tahoe.
Once we what was that road that you came in on? 15? No, it wasn't 15.
So you hit a snowstorm, didn't you?
No, that was after.
That was afterwards.
after.
No, so we were coming in that's like when the highway kind of opened up into South Lake Tahoe. We were getting it going around because it was 2 lanes on each. It was 2 lanes per direction, and man, we was just fucking carving those things. And that's where, on that part, and we'll get to it, but on the backside coming into Sacramento, like where I really enjoyed riding, like that shit was nice.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite.
Yeah, we ended up catching it. We ended up getting into South Lake Tahoe. We were trying to get to Heidi's, but it was closed. Got there too late.
That's right where I met up with y'all.
Yeah.
After my bike was done.
We caught up to him.
I'm laughing now, remembering.
So that's when your bike was done. With the wheel.
The front tire was fixed.
And then
with the tire.
With the tire, yeah, you're right. And then we stopped to get gas. And
we was trying to find a lunch spot.
Yep. And the starter.
We found a lunch spot, and then do it.
Forever.
The saga continues.
The starter
it would not
woes. No, it ended up being a coil, but we've sent so you ended up going back.
Yeah, backtracking pretty much almost the same
entire
distance.
way.
30 miles probably.
Yeah, so he was down in South Lake Tahoe. He ended up backtracking back to the Carson City Harley Davidson to get the coil.
Yeah, I went ahead and got coil plugs. Well, Von Metal did the plugs while he was in the shop, but I got the wires, coil, and I went ahead and changed my oil on the side of the road there. But
out.
Oh, we're out.
Yeah, there wasn't no more beer left, right?
No, that's it.
no, yeah, I don't think so.
No. I got the last two.
I see Larry drinking 2
I'm going to go look real quick.
I mean, there might be one sitting there open.
You gonna go to the gas station and get some more?
One sitting open.
If we have
Shit,
to.
now there's tumbleweeds blowing around out there.
Gas. They probably stopped selling beer. It's 12 o'clock already.
Probably.
Once Matt took off, though, we went, and since we weren't able to get into Heidi's, we went and found a different spot, which actually ended up turning out real great.
Right on the beach.
Because Heidi's, from what I understood, was kind of overlooking.
Well, no, you wouldn't. Heidi's is just like its own spot. Like you're not seeing
a breakfast spot, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a good ass place.
We ate
but
on the beach.
Yeah, we were on the beach,
which was wonderful.
And yeah, there was ass everywhere.
For sure. I guess it's not really a beach if it's on a lake, but
I've never felt so old
it was
looking
sandy.
at girls with like thongs on, and every time y'all would say something, because I was sitting with my back facing to the beach, and every time y'all would say, "Oh," and I would look around like, "What's going?" Oh, it's the same ass, but it still looks good still.
Yeah, that's
nice.
a nice ass lake, man. You can see
a really nice lake. It was nice to have a bite and a drink right on the lake, on the beach. Whatever.
Was there more?
It's half a beer. Yeah. He fell asleep.
I tell you.
Oh, Larry.
Yeah, that was a badass spot.
Yeah, it was a good lunch spot. But then, so what do we do after that?
So we ended up having lunch there, and then we left there, and this was kind of like y'all's first taste of lane splitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ended up
it's right in the middle of downtown
from Nevada to California,
Tahoe, where it goes to California. Right?
Yeah, and we didn't really do much lane splitting in Tahoe, but basically once we climbed up the mountains, we ended up taking. I think you took 88, is the one you took, the route you took.
Yeah.
And we took 50, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. And so ours took us right into Sacramento and whatnot. And dude, like. Whenever the lanes opened up to 2 lanes, once again, dude, there was no cars on it. Me and Cody were up front, and we were just carving those fucking things. The tire was legit; it wasn't bouncing anymore like it was. Man, it was like
so fun.
It was MotoGP right there.
Yeah,
it really was.
Just the big sweepers,
Yes.
those fun ones. I love those, man.
Big sweepers with wide lanes.
Yeah, like when you take them like at 110, 115.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my first taste of true Dino Wobble there.
What happened?
We were doing about 100 through them curves, and you could just feel it start walking on the ass end. Just whoop, 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 whoop.
Well, I know your tire's cupping too, so that might be something.
Goddamn
wrong.
Shinko.
Tire's gone.
Oh man, that tire's gone.
Yeah, your rear.
I feel like we were at the soft flats. You started doing a burnout, and then you realized you were on a Shinko. You're like, oh, let me cut this off real quick. Couldn't even get my camera
A
out.
half a second burnout, and
Hey,
it's like
still
gone.
did it, though. Still did it.
Yeah, so the goal was we were going to make it to Brentwood that night to kind of catch up with some of the NorCal homies. And we ended up making it to Brentwood, and the bar that we picked was closed.
Before you get there, what about that Toyota we caught up to?
Which one?
That truck.
Oh, that truck?
Leaving Tahoe.
Oh, Lord.
You remember?
The truck that... No, wait. That wasn't Tahoe. That was NorCal.
No, it was leaving
No, that was
Tahoe.
NorCal.
That was NorCal.
No, that was Bodega Bay down.
Yeah, that was NorCal.
We haven't got there yet.
No, it was through the windy tree area.
No, you were
Yeah, no, that was
On the
that
bay, because Matt was with us.
Yeah.
Damn, I thought that was leaving Tahoe.
No. So
got my days all fucked up, man.
Because he
I
blasted.
don't
That shit
think
was
there
so
was
funny.
anything keeping up with us when we left Tahoe.
yeah, so
I don't think
yeah,
so
so
either.
basically once we got through Tahoe, we left there. We ended up going through Sacramento. It was just at the end of like rush hour or close to it.
Yeah.
And so, I was kind of like, kind of seeing. I wanted to push the lane splitting thing to the envelope to see if you guys were going to be okay with it and shit.
Yeah.
So when we were going down 5, headed towards, I think you were kind of.
We were racing against time too because
Yeah.
you had put something out there.
We were gonna be there at 7.
Somewhere at
We hit this
7.
bar, yeah.
And we're like, it's 6:30. We got to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the very first time ever lane splitting, it's pretty eye opening to try to cut through a couple cars moving at 90 miles an hour. It's a trip. It's a trip.
Jay said,
I don't think that part's legal.
Exactly. So that's what I'm thinking this whole time. I'm like, because filtering makes sense, getting to the front of the lane, being safe and secure, that type of thing. I think that's the purpose of the law. Just being an asshole and clipping past these cars, I don't think that's what the letter of the law says. Just saying.
That's what we got to the bar. James like, I don't think we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
I don't think we're doing it right. But apparently, that's what people do.
Yeah.
So it was what it was, but it was definitely eye-opening, that's for sure.
How much did you enjoy it though? Like, I know that we'll get to the point of like we were tired of having to lane split.
Yeah, because of Trump. Yeah,
But
I love
I
it.
grew
man.
to
I think
enjoy
it's
Oh man, if we weren't splitting, we'd probably still be in California right now.
But the good thing about it is,
the traffic was crazy.
of course, it's not legal where we're from. But the good thing about it is a lot. Even I noticed it through like Utah and all that. A lot of the cars will move out of the way for you.
Yeah.
They'll scoot over, and you can just go through the middle. Most of them will give you room. There's some assholes that won't.
Yeah.
But most of them give you room.
I feel like the only ones that weren't giving us room were Asians.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not trying to be racist.
Or they weren't from California.
Too late.
They were just Asians. They were in their own world.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we ended up making the Brentwood. The fucking Idlewild was closed, or Wild Idle. I always call it Idlewild. I don't know why. It was closed and for a staff meeting.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It was Tuesday night, right? At that point?
Monday night.
Monday night, yeah.
Monday night.
So Monday was a long day. Think about it. We
It was
woke
a very
up.
long day. Gosh.
Yeah, we're still on Monday in this whole
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
right now.
Wow.
And so we ended up going to, we ended up doing that, and then we had to change it on the fly, which sucks because we had put it out on social media that we were going to be at the spot. So fortunately, the same owners owned a bar down the street called the Aloha Bar in Discovery Bay. And so we ended up going there. They had cornhole. We
Pretty
ordered
dope
pizza.
spot though.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't nobody there,
I mean, the backyard area.
but we had a good time. All the homies came out. We were planning on sleeping on a shop floor that night, and then the homie B came through, let us use his house.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
He helped a lot.
But yeah, so Brian, the guy that used to work for, I've been wanting to have him on the podcast, but he used to work for Arlen Ness, and he's a big time fucking skydiver. And he was talking about, y'all remember what he was saying about how to learn how to do the hang gliding shit?
Yeah. On the trailer. He said they pull you down the runway on a trailer.
Like an airstrip on a trailer.
Wouldn't it kind of be similar to like doing the boat with the hang glider thing?
Like a parasail.
Parasail,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess I've never done that either. But
Yeah, that dude went from one extreme to the other. Like, I used to ride the shit out of bikes. Now I skydiving, base jump and shit like that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he said he was about to go base jumping.
Yeah.
It was crazy because he was on that Arlen Ness, that show. I can't remember what it was, but when Ness had a TV show for a while, and he was one of the guys that was on it. it's funny like seeing him on there and shit, and then like you see him in real life, you're like, dude, you're on TV.
You're fucking famous.
Man, I forgot to ask him. He was going to tell us the story about his back, and then he went to do something. And
He said something about lane splitting. Yeah,
which this is when James was like, I don't think we're doing it right, and he's like, well, I should have been going faster, and my back wouldn't have got broke.
Yeah. Wow.
So Matt shows up that night though too.
Yeah.
What time you ended up showing? You ended up getting there.
He was there before dark.
Just before dark.
Yeah, probably right at sunset.
So how was your ride solo through the mountains?
Well, like you said earlier, I took a different route than what y'all went, and the first probably like 20 minutes of it was good. It was like, okay, going through the mountains, real scenic, but then all of a sudden it got really cold, and then all of a sudden it started to rain on me. And then I noticed once I got up, I mean, it wasn't really that high. It was only, I think 7,400 feet up.
But I think you took 88, which
it was 88.
That's the way me and Britta drove last year. That's way more scenic than the way we went.
Yeah, it was definitely beautiful, but right when I was at the top, it was raining the whole time, and it was bad. Like I was only probably doing maybe like 10, 20 mile an hour. It was so cold. It like my visor, my mirrors were icing up. The ground had some ice patches on it, and then every now and then I'd see a little snow flurry coming down, and I was like, "What the fuck am I getting myself into?" And I didn't have any service or anything, so I couldn't use my GPS to see what turns are ahead of me. And of course, there's cars coming everywhere, and you can't see the lines in the road, so people are like over the line, and it was pretty crazy. But
at any point up until this point, had you considered like your options of like, should I turn around and go home or anything like that? Or did you feel like the goal was just to keep going straight? I mean, like, what was going through your head when all this shit was going south?
So it was mixed emotions kind of thing. Like I felt defeated a couple times, but I was just so motivated to do this trip. I just kept pushing myself. I was basically like, if I cannot ride this bike, then I'm done. Mm-hmm. So getting the wheel bearing fixed that day, getting the tire fixed, that wasn't a big deal. If I had like a rod sticking out, then I would have to say, okay, I'm done. But there were times like even in that cold, because I couldn't stop because it was raining so much. If I would try to stop and put on a hoodie over everything, it would be pointless because I'd be soaking wet. So I was just wearing a flannel and a vest going through all of that.
Yeah.
So that was real miserable. But I was just like, I remember looking on the map before I went on the mountain, and I think it was only 60 miles all the way through. So I was like, I could do this, no big deal. And so I just kept pushing myself, going and going. Then I was getting low on gas. No gas stations in sight for a while. Finally found one. I go and the pump's not working, so I have to go to the next one, which was like 10 more miles. And it was pretty sketchy. But it looking back on it, one, it's a story I could tell forever.
Yeah.
Two, it was experience.
Your story's not over yet.
Yeah.
Just by going.
Well, the great thing about it to me was that, like you said, you might have felt defeated or you might have had those challenges, but at the end of each one of these days, at the end of each one of these difficult scenarios, like we talked about earlier, we ended each day at the destination that we were hoping to.
And together. Yeah.
Together, exactly. And when you've got a trip like this, it's almost inevitable that something, some way, shape, or form will go sideways, right? So it did, but the fact that we were able to stay together, regardless of what it takes to get there, when we're cracking a beer at the end of the night and all of us are able to celebrate that we did the day that we wanted to do and that we set out to do, and we haven't set ourselves back in a different fashion, right? We're still on schedule.
We get to laugh about it.
It's exactly like you said. It's a story. It's something that you'll have forever. But damn, were they some long days, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That first week, we had some really, really long days. But at the same time, they all paid off in the end. And I think it also allowed us to look forward a little bit more to so we're finally in California now. We're like, all right, so we've got a couple more cushiony days coming up. We've got a couple Airbnbs where we've been sleeping on the ground and shit like that. So we've been able to look forward to something as well. So all the trials and tribulations, as they might say, it got you to a point where we're still at the end of the day cracking a beer together, and we're still all there, and that's really all that mattered.
Come on, made the whole trip,
brother.
That's all that matters,
brother.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, so we ended up staying at my buddy B's house. He was cool to let us. It was weird because I have a lot of friends. I don't want to. It's one thing if it's just like me and a homie coming through town, but when you got 6 motherfuckers, 6 big motherfuckers at that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we ain't a small group.
Yeah, and and Brian's B is actually a very meticulous person. Like you saw how neat his house was.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
very nice.
Yeah. I tried to accommodate his OCD because I have the same shit. I'm like, this man is like me. He likes his shit where it goes. Yeah. So I kind of took a mental picture of it when we got there, and when we left, I tried to put it all back.
Yeah,
because all y'all was like, "Let's go," and I'm like, "This needs to go over here. This needs to go over here."
Yeah.
Hopefully we did him a service.
Hope we didn't destroy too much.
No, we did good. It was
we
awesome.
fucked up. Honestly, it was that shit was on us because we were freestyling and we were a little bit behind on the day and whatever. And then we got to this place and we didn't figure out our accommodations. And then we
started drinking.
So 1:30 in the morning when we need to find somewhere to stay and we're intoxicated, not the best way to do it. Didn't make that mistake again.
Yeah, I think we were looking to go to Pittsburgh and Steve was like,
so bad.
Y'all crazy.
Yeah, don't fucking go there.
Yeah.
All
Pittsburgh
your shit's
ain't
gonna
that
get
bad,
jacked.
dude.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah. I was like, man, our Pittsburgh in Texas, that's where the chicken comes from. Like, how can that be? Pilgrim's Pride.
Pilgrim's Pride.
So the next day of the goal was for us to basically you just leave the Brentwood area and ride up north to through Petaluma. We were actually going to stop and see Schultz, but his shop was pretty far north of Petaluma. It was kind of hard, really out of the way to go to. We were going to go hit the Petaluma, take it straight to the coast, and ride the coast down to San Francisco, basically. And so we left. We stopped by fucking what was it, Best Buy. I needed to get a battery and some more mounts and shit for the fucking GoPro.
Where we were going, where'd we go through? Brian had us the night before believing that what towns were we going through?
Stockton. Lodi.
Lodi.
True, yeah.
If we stop in that town, we're getting shot.
He's like, fill up before you get there and don't stop when you get there.
Yeah, he was saying run through the lights.
Yeah.
Don't even stop.
And then we get there and your other buddy's like, oh, them places ain't shit, but Pittsburgh?
It's like down the line, each place we go. Yeah, so I ended up losing my beloved gas cap. That sucked.
Oh yeah.
But your guy came through real nice.
Yeah, it was cool because we were actually, the Dirtbag Cycles. I actually painted a lot of bikes for that dude, and it was on the route. And I was like, fuck, I'll just stop by there. I know he's got some kind of gas cap laying around, or I can buy one off of one of his bikes. And of course, he just gave me one or whatever, and
nice.
Worked out well.
Yeah.
And then yeah, dude, we ended up going up there. We caught the coast. What was y'all's perception of that first part of PCH we rode on?
Dude, that was one of those moments that we were, I think, all looking forward to.
Yeah.
We were traveling with anticipation of X, right? And that was one of them. And to me, we had set up GoPros in anticipation of we're riding through the bluff. So we had gone up through like wine country.
Napa.
It's called Napa.
Napa Valley.
And that was cool, seeing all that, but you could just sense it, right? Like the coast is just over this.
Yeah.
And as soon as we come around to it, it was mixed emotions because we were there, but the weather killed us, man. It was hazy, foggy, could barely see. It was pretty
as
chill.
soon as we got into Bodega Bay, I seen that Highway 1 sign.
Yeah.
I was like, now I feel like I'm in California. Because I'm gonna tell you, when we was coming into Brentwood, I was like, where the fuck is he taking us? Because or we're in some goddamn cornfields or whatever.
Yeah, it didn't feel like California.
Farming out there. I was like, what?
It didn't feel like your perception of California.
Correct. And I was like, holy shit, this is hot, and this is not California. It can't be. But when we hit that Highway 1 in Bodega Bay and started seeing the water and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is California. That was my perception of California, Highway 1.
Well, see, the reason I wanted to take that route is because it's less touristy than the actual part we did a couple of days later.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get, that's what we were talking about, the dude with the Toyota that was fucking ripping through the corners.
Oh my Lord.
So it was like you have
you.
like, think about it, like we had some of the best riding through that part of the coast. You know what I mean? Like as far as like the most open, right?
Yeah.
Remember the dude on the Ducati?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that very much. I thought it was very, very flattering. So we were Bodega Bay down to San Francisco, essentially, or just north of San Francisco, I think. Yeah. And essentially, it's a whole bunch of switchbacks. It's a whole bunch of tight turns, and it's something that you come from flat Texas, and we're just wide open riding. It's a far more technical style of riding than we've probably ever ridden in our lives.
Oh, definitely me.
And I think we did a pretty damn good job. Not to mention we're still all full packed out, right? And we've been riding a good amount of time, but it's almost like, all right, we're on the one, we're finally here. I think all of us maybe mentally kind of checked in even further and like we're gonna put in some work here. And it was kind of funny because about partway through our
once we got to the physical coast, so a lot of that riding was in and out of towns, and those towns, there was a big bay up there, not Bodega Bay, but there's another one south of that, and then it was right when we came out of that last town where you start climbing up, where you're finally like legitimately on the coast, and that's where the fog started.
Yeah.
But when we were entering that area, this guy that was full leathered up, like race suit, sport bike guy, ended up getting in the middle of us in a sense. So I think maybe the mental choice for each of us was, do we push him or do we let him push us or
let him
past
go by?
us? You know what I mean?
Right.
And we didn't check up. We pushed out in front of him and made him keep up with us. And it was really cool because at that point, every single one of us, I don't know, maybe it was 15 or 20 miles of just switchbacks down the one, whatever it was. And when we came to after that section, we stopped at this gas station. Every single one of us had put pegs down, had put pipe down, had really ridden pretty damn hard, right? And we were pretty stoked about it. Well, the cool thing is, everybody knows that sport bike guys have an advantage in relation to a Harley, but when we stopped, that guy made a point to stop with us, and he's like, "Hey man, I live in San Francisco. I run this." Essentially, it was a loop. He said, "I run this every single, I think it was a Tuesday, and every single Sunday. And I run laps, and I time myself. And I'm just going to tell y'all right now, y'all had a really good pace."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that was awesome.
Come on, man. So I don't know. It was a feel good. It was a feel good for sure. And that was super cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But some weird thing, some dude pulled up in the gas station, was looking for a red Ducati with a yellow jump chute, and there was a dude behind him in a Ducati, and this dude was on a Ducati, and he's like, "No, not that one, and not that one." Well, how many more Ducatis in this parking lot?
The fucking yellow shit on.
Yeah. But so that was kind of like my go-to like route, and then to hit back on the highway like we did right there out of that gas station, and then hit that tunnel, and then bam, you're at the fucking deal. So
badass.
The thing is, what sucked about that is, first off, the exit to go up directly to where we ended up walking out was closed. Y'all saw that? Because usually you just right there, whoop, and then right back down and done. So they had it closed to where you had to go down and do that long ass tunnel and go around the other side of the fucking mountain to get to that little area. Never had to do that before. Yeah. And then obviously with all the fog and everything, by the time we got to where you could see the bridge, you couldn't see shit.
Yeah.
So it was it just sucked, man. Like it you can't really plan that, and there's nothing you can do about it. But it's just like when you think of like in my vision of how I've seen it coming through that tunnel and seeing the Golden Gate Bridge is how I want everybody to see it,
Right.
and it just was out of my control.
Well, it's
you know what
so
I mean?
damn big, and then
Oh my
when we
God,
come
yeah.
around the corner, we can only see like
The road.
an eighth of it, probably. I mean, it's just.
I mean, it was
You
still
couldn't even-
impressive. But
Yeah.
Oh man, that thing's
Yeah.
monstrous. Like I wouldn't imagine it being that big. Like it's crazy.
You
how
couldn't
big
see
it was.
it. You couldn't even see the top of it because it was so foggy.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the trade-off that we had. You know, our forecast through Colorado was calling for rain and snow and nastiness, and we had a beautiful ride through Colorado.
Yeah,
so maybe
great.
I don't know. Maybe that was the trade-off, but it was a bummer for sure. But so we didn't spend a ton of time there, right? Because we weren't able to really capture anything
Yeah.
visually.
Just
We
Cold,
we
windy.
enjoyed what it was, and we were able to say we're there. It gives everybody a reason to go back.
right.
But then we pushed into the city, and we had a good old time in the city, right?
The Airbnb was dope.
The Airbnb was dope.
Airbnb
Yeah,
was
Airbnb
cool.
was on point. Shout out Jaden. What?
Other than that,
Yeah, San Francisco was kind of weird. I mean, it was kind of cool. You know, we caught the Uber and we went over there to, the Fisherman's Wharf and got our fix of, like, I guess we're all hooked on fucking clam chowder.
Chowder.
Yeah, ciao.
we got a good picture of Alcatraz and that.
Yeah.
shit.
yeah.
It was clear enough in the city to see the bay, but just whatever was like the coast was touching. It was like that all the way down to
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just that. It was just like a complete fuckery the whole coast.
Yeah.
But so what was it, Tuesday night?
I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it's
night at
Tuesday
this point.
night.
Yep,
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So we're in San Francisco. We're trying to find something. We're over there. We're trying to get out of the touristy area and like when we go to Haight Ashbury and then
Yeah.
I took you out to a gay bar.
Yeah. First bar we walk into is a fucking
Tracks.
gay bar.
Yeah, couldn't tell.
hey man, it was
That was a quick in and out.
Yeah, we drank one. We chugged that first beer and left.
Yeah, I was
It's one of them
uncomfortable.
ones.
as
The
a
more you
motherfucker.
look around, you're like, hold on a minute.
But it was
It
equally
was
as
the cheapest
uncomfortable.
bar tab we had the whole
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
week.
they had
so
cheap beer,
I
like
don't know
$2
why y'all
beers.
didn't just stay.
So the cheap beer, that's how they get you in there.
Yeah.
And then the next place we went to was on down the street, and it was like a comedy thing going on, and that was fucking awkward.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
real. Because there's only like 5 people in there watching him.
And his jokes were terrible.
Either that, or we need to see his face while he's making the jokes. I don't know, like something was off. Maybe it was just
some of
his.
the shit he was saying, and I was like, man, really? Like, come on, bro.
He tried way too hard to be funny.
Yeah.
That shit.
Well, that's the job.
That place was spendy. That place was spendy too, though. Cody, that was the most
Yeah, that
expensive
was-
drink you had.
You had a $25 fucking Red Bull vodka.
Double vodka and Red Bull, and it was $24.
Lord.
That's fucking.
So then we were out there waiting on the Uber, and then you, James and Cody, y'all were in there talking to the bartender, and she gave you a rundown of the cool bars in town.
Where
Yeah.
do people go? They're here, and we ended up from this list. So all right, so back to that guy, the sport bike guy. He had mentioned a place in the city that he liked to go to. Well, when we were speaking with the bartender, she also mentioned the same place. So we're like, all right, we got to give this place a shot. So we went over to a place called Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And
Which is a good documentary if you've never watched it.
Never heard.
the spot was really cool. The way that it was set up, super cool spot. Like
Yeah.
if you were to take and transplant that into Deep Ellum, where we're from,
It seems like that's
it
where
would
it would
fit
be
right
from,
the
you
fuck
know?
in,
Yeah.
right? But we
It was
go
supposed
in,
to look like a biker bar.
and it was
Yeah.
biker as fuck. But the
Yeah.
clientele,
hipster.
no
Coders.
bikers.
They were fucking in
the
suits
table
and
behind us was coding.
dresses and shit.
That
like,
guy
what the
that
fuck?
looked like Einstein
Oh,
that was
Lord.
there, that old man.
Well, see, they gave us a list. Like, she gave y'all a list of this is what's cool, for them. Like, San Francisco and Dallas is two different things.
They're different.
Well, we told her, we're like here on a bike trip. She said, she gave us like 2 or 3 options, like biker bars, and that Zeitgeist was one of them. So we heard that other guy mention that, so we was like, well, we got to check that out.
And it wasn't. I mean,
It wasn't
the way
a bad
that they
bar.
had it set up. They had it set up as though
Oh,
it
yeah.
was a biker bar.
It was real
When
badass.
we pulled up to it in the Uber, we didn't ride over there, of course.
No.
But when we pulled up to it,
hard asses.
Because we're real bikers.
we're bikers.
We Ubered.
but when we pulled up to it, there was one bike out there,
Yeah.
and it was like a dirt bike.
Triumph.
Yeah, it was Triumph or something.
So we're like, all right, this isn't a good sign. But we went in. There were plenty of people in there, but it just wasn't. It wasn't that vibe. So, and that was the 3rd, 4th, 5th place that we had attempted
yeah.
in that night, and we just finally gave up.
We just went home.
Well, before we went home, went across the street to grab a sixer, and Larry won the lotto.
Larry hit $200 on the scratch off.
So that made up for it, but no. It's,
So we went back to the fucking Airbnb and watched Wild Hogs.
Wow, like some real bikers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bro.
The best part was like how like I had never seen him before, so I was kind of into it.
Hey, you
and
watched
every time, and so we had gummies that night too.
Yeah.
So me, Matt, Jacob, and then Larry, we all took some of Larry's gummies, and I didn't really feel nothing,
I never felt nothing at all.
but it was kind of funny. Every time I look back, the disgusting disappointment that Cody had on his face that we were at San Francisco watching Wild Hogs in an Airbnb when we could be out at some bar partying.
Bad, man.
Sitting there stewing.
I believe
You forgot all about the guy on the street with the cup.
Oh yeah, so we were walking down Haight-Ashbury Street, which I guess it would be at Haight Street. I don't know, fucking know.
Yeah.
But we're walking, and you know, Jacob's been looking for someone to take a shit the whole time we're there.
Oh, dude.
Because that's all you hear about.
Yeah.
I've had 5 people like, oh, wait till you get to San Francisco. People just shit right in the middle of the street. So, as weird as that sounds, I'm like sitting here waiting for somebody to just drop drawers and shit in the middle of the street.
And so we were walking down the street, and this fucking like tweaker looking dude that clearly was like, you know, hanging out with somebody had like some big ass overalls, like some Jinko style overalls. And it looked like he was playing with himself. And then, like, as we were walking by, he pulled out a big gulp cup. He had pissed in the cup in his jeans.
Yeah.
And then dumped it out on the curb and goes, "That's why I wear these." So disgusting.
Yeah.
I thought San Francisco was, like, known for being, like, a gay city. It's like, now it's like all we're looking for is to see dudes shitting.
The homeless people.
Shitting.
Oh, man. There was
That town was pretty fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
I've never
It
stayed
was,
there.
it was very
People
disgusting.
everywhere.
Yeah, it was bad.
pretty sure we seen a dead person in the grass when we were going by in the Uber. Right.
I've never stayed there the night. I've never stayed the night there. I've always just came in and came through, you know. But
Yeah.
it was very, I don't know, man. Like I've hung out with locals there before and found cool little bars. But you know, like all those little fucking bars are at the bottom of of like apartment buildings and shit. Like
Right.
that's where you go.
Yeah.
But there's so fucking many of them. How do you pick one? It's like it's such a like. I guess in Dallas we're fortunate because like they like force all our bars into like 1 or 2 streets.
Yeah.
So you have a very good chance of finding a good place, or
Yeah.
if not, you can walk to the next
Hit or
one.
miss, yeah.
You don't have to Uber all over fucking town.
Right. How about our Uber driver?
Oh yeah, dude.
4 hands.
killer.
4 hands.
He's talking about the massage parlors.
Yeah.
Because I have to get 2 girls. I get 4 hands.
He just like took it upon himself to talk about that shit too.
Yeah, that
I
shit
can't believe nobody in San Francisco knew where the Full House was. Like, if you live in San Francisco, that's gotta be a must be.
I don't know how many times you said, "Where's Aunt Becky's house?"
And Becky's house.
So hot.
But at the same time, like at all these places, all these stops that we're having, it's impossible to get a true, true capture of what they are. You know, we don't know what San Francisco is in 12 hours that we were there, but what we do have is first impressions, and we have little snapshots in time of what they offered. And unfortunately, San Francisco's wasn't the greatest for us.
Right.
Bunch of homeless people laying on sidewalks.
Like when we were at Big Sur, that was really nice.
It was. Yeah. It was. That was next.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
down.
So the next day, we wake up, loaded back up, and
Take off.
yeah. So we ended up leaving, and then we were, rode a little bit of the coast some more down to Half Moon Bay, and then we were gonna cut in,
Dun,
and
dun, dun, dun.
here comes the next Matt problem. So you're wobbling again.
Yeah, I got that wobble. This time it was a lot lower speed. I was only able to do like 40, 50 without a wobble, and but I was I don't know. It was pretty bad. So I pulled over and I'm looking and I'm thinking that it's a bearing, and then I look down. I could see the spokes are
Loose.
dug. They're loose and they're dug into the hub.
I'm trying to count days where we're at. I don't know if I lost track.
It's like day 6.
But
6.
so I was like, well, because we weren't that far. I think we're only like maybe 20 miles.
Yeah, we were
From
20
our
miles
stop.
from
Campbell.
from Slab Sides, which I wanted to kind of stop in anyway and say what's up. I had reached out to him anyway, say, hey, we're gonna slide through. And so as soon as we got there, I walked in and said, hey, I kind of had an idea that if anybody in that area was gonna have a lead on a rim, was gonna be him, right? So fortunately, we walked in. I told him what was going on. You pulled up a few minutes later, and then he had a fucking rim right there.
Yeah, he just dropped it right there in front of me. He's like, I got one for you.
Dope ass little shot, man.
So
Yeah.
cool. And not to mention, what was it, Roger, right?
Roger, yeah.
Roger.
Coolest guy I've met in a long time. I don't know, just really cool kid.
Yeah, real genuine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I would say or make that statement is because you meet a lot of people and they tend to have, a bit of a persona that you meet. You don't necessarily meet the real person.
Right.
I felt like I met him
Yeah.
right out the gate.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just a really, really
Real
genuine
cool.
guy.
Yeah.
And that was really nice to see.
Yeah.
What about the big ass Hell's Angel dude that walked in? That
Oh,
nobody was.
man.
Monster.
He ended up being a teddy bear.
Big Jeremy. Wasn't
Yeah,
that his
Big
name?
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Big Jeremy.
He was the nicest.
He was a nice
guy.
dude,
but
man.
He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
65 foot tall.
Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee you he's 6'7".
Oh, he
Like,
was.
gigantic.
Yeah,
And
he
it's
made,
just
he
cool.
made
He's
you
like,
look small.
was.
oh, what's up, guys?
He
He's
was.
like, hey, y'all need to do this and that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool as shit.
Never
Yeah, so we
judged
ended
a
up
book
getting the bikes squared or getting his Matt's bike squared away. He had a rim in stock. We swapped the tires out because the rear tire of yours was good. So like I was saying, I didn't feel like that wheel was gonna last too much longer. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
sure enough, it was perfect that it happened there. Cause
Yeah,
I mean,
perfect
Yeah.
spot.
he ended up hooking you up on that wheel.
Started wobbling 20 minutes down the street.
Yeah, 20 miles.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so from there, we were like, that night the goal was to camp at Big Sur, right? So we were going to see half of PCH or a quarter of it, basically, of the more popular part of it, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And then, camping in Big Sur. So before that, we went to Monterey, which it was nice because, once again, the coast was covered in fog, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason, Monterey opened up, we had sunshine.
Yep.
And it was nice.
Nice.
Had
saw
some
that
good.
same cruise ship that we saw in
Yeah.
In
So
San Francisco.
in San
Yeah.
Francisco. Oh wow, who takes a cruise down the California coast?
Yeah, right.
First stop, San Francisco. Second stop, Monterey.
Yeah.
Where they gonna go next?
So we ended up getting some good Mexican food there, and honestly, we didn't really have too bad of a time on that part of PCH that day.
No,
we saw the couple bridges. We saw the Bigsby Bridge and shit. Nice.
So
It wasn't like perfectly blue skies, but it was still sunny,
Just
right?
a little bit chilly.
So what you think about like that part of the coast, like as far as like from what you could take of it?
Man.
it was less technical than the far northern portion.
Yeah.
It was more sweeper. But to me it's the sky started opening up, like you said. So that's when you started really getting the appeal that is PCH.
Right.
The hey, I'm riding on a really cool road next to a cliff next to the fucking ocean. And it's and that's, to me, that is PCH. When I think about it, it's not the LA coast. It's not even the hairpin stuff that we had in far northern Cali, but it was that. It's that Bixby Bridge.
Well, it's what you see.
Big Sur type
It's
zone.
what you see in all the famous pictures,
'Cause
all
it's
the
fucking
movies.
epic.
You see that shit.
It's
Yeah,
really epic.
It makes it surreal.
You have a very surreal landscape, and that's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have water for as long as your eyes can see on one side, and you have cliff drops,
Huge
and
rock
cool
cliffs.
roads.
I
on
didn't
the
bring
other.
this up, but when we were riding back to like salt flats, right? So when we were riding the
Mount
Salt
Rose.
Lake, right?
Yeah.
And the sun was going down. Did it not look like an infinity edge fucking pool?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, because you couldn't see
solid
to
water.
the edge. It just looked like the water turned in. It was crazy to look at as a lake.
But that's
As
the difference, I think,
yeah.
with when water was on it, right?
No, I'm talking about the not Salt Flats. I'm talking about Salt Lake
The
City.
actual Salt Lake.
So when
Salt
we were-
Lake is fucking huge.
Yeah, it's
It is
giant.
really big.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So we ended up going to Big Sur. It was cold.
Yeah.
It was we were
kind of drizzly.
It was drizzly. we ended up getting the spot. It was a really good camp spot. A really good camp spot. We ended up catching the stores before they closed. We were able to get beer, some more chowder. I think we had potato soup that time. And man, like that night was fun though.
Bought like $50 worth of firewood.
Yeah.
We did buy $50 worth of firewood. That night was lovely.
That was probably the best.
We needed the fire.
Yeah.
That was probably the best night camping as far as like all of us just sitting around the fire talking all night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We did pretty good that night.
I think it goes hand in hand with the fact that we had a relatively short ride that day.
Yeah.
And we weren't just fucking gassed because we put in 600 miles.
Yeah.
And it leaves you an opportunity to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we ended up getting pretty drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably that night was probably.
I think that's when we started waking up late.
Yeah.
Because it got to a point where it got to a point where we were like camping and it's like damn, like fucking 9:30, like I'm just getting up now. It's like, but you know we did that. I had a good time that night. It was real fun. I think we were just like swapping war stories and shit.
I got up the next morning, go to the bathroom, like all the campers are just giving us the evil eye. Like, you sons of bitches.
Because it was silent around there besides
too wild
us.
out here.
Yeah, right.
It was really quiet out there.
But then again, I mean, it was that same way when we pulled in. Because didn't the shop closed at like 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
And we got there at 8:55.
Yeah.
So it was already silent all around.
There was
like
a lot of
everybody was,
school kid things
it was
going
a
on.
lot of family.
like
Boy
camp.
Scout stuff.
Yeah.
It was the middle of the week, so
Right.
the only people that were there were family types, it seemed. But
Right.
yeah, it was.
Oh, there was some Children of the Corn shit going on out there.
Yeah, they were doing some shit in the
Man, it was what time? I don't know. It was probably about 2:30. We were still up drinking and talking, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you hear some kids. Ah! Like, oh, what the fuck?
You can hear them chanting or something back there.
Yeah, the next day when we woke up and we ended up, riding the rest of the PCH down, like I ain't gonna lie, like that was kind of miserable to me. Like
Because you started fucking with traffic by that point.
it was so much
If you
traffic.
could get rid of all those fucking RV rental deals. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
Whatever mountain we hit when all that fog hit right before we got to
it's
Ventura.
before.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that was cool on this side of the mountain, and then so yeah, we did PCH. We ended up riding down. We ended up getting to San Luis Obispo. Saw some guys from Canada were riding through. They were headed to Born Free too.
Yeah.
And we were like, I hit up, Victor, who, plays the John Teller and fucking Sons of Anarchy. And, we were going to his house. We were going to ride with him, hang out with him. And he lives just in Ventura, so we had to cross through the Santa Monica Mountains to get there. And when we were on the north side of those mountains, like you could see, like I said, the whole coast was just covered in fog the entire way. You could see the fog just rolling over the fucking mountains, and it was kind of crazy. Like you could see the top of the clouds while you're on the ground. It was fucking insane.
Wow.
What was more insane is when we got to the very top and we crossed over, and there was like 10 feet of visibility on the other side of the fucking
through
hill.
that shit.
It was ridiculous, man. And then we get to his house and it's fucking sunny blue skies. You can see the ocean and everything.
Ventura was.
He's like,
pretty.
what? No, it wasn't like that. No, that didn't happen. We were like, shit.
It sure was.
So he ended up riding with us. We ended up, going down to y'all's first chance seeing Neptune.
Yeah.
Did you like that? The clam chowder was good?
It was.
I didn't have the
I had the
clam
fish
chowder.
tacos and they were badass.
I had to fried shrimp.
I had the fish and chips again.
For like the
But I didn't know they had boiled stuff on the other side. If I'd have known that, that's where I'd have been.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was cool to
It was
be
good.
there. Yeah.
It was real good.
That's when
I
they
can tell why that spot's got the attention that it does, because it's kind of a premium spot right there on the water too. It's pretty
Well,
cool.
it's like what Victor was saying. It's like right on
between
the
two counties.
Yeah, it's between two counties, so the cops don't really fuck with them there.
Yeah.
You can do a wheelie on one end, lay it down on the other side, and then you're scot free.
Yeah. And in the movie and all that, and it just builds up the place even more.
We ended up riding with him to Top Rocker Harley Davidson they were having a bike night. And what were you expecting the bike night to look like when you were going there?
I don't know if I really expected anything, but I'm just so used to, like, if you go to where we're from, it's nothing but street guys and just old guys walking around. Like, me and Cody and Larry and just maybe a handful more, probably the youngest people that ever go up to any of these bike nights.
Yeah.
And we pull up and there's Dinah's out the yin yang and I was like, holy shit, I found my belongings. Like, there's more Dinah's than just mine here.
It was a good little spot. It was a little smaller than I expected as far as the Harley shop.
Yeah.
I was thinking it'd be a little bigger, but it was a good little spot. I mean, they had, a couple vendors set up, selling beer, selling Manic Crew and all of them was there.
Yeah, they had that truck come up that did tattoos.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was interesting because when I think of bike night, I relate it to what we do, right? And it's people. It's about the people. It's for the people. It's not about a location. It's not about anything like that. So I was hoping to meet more people. Some of the California people that you would never get a chance to meet otherwise, right? And I didn't feel that it was that type of environment. I felt it was almost like a mini rally in a sense.
Yeah.
Where the guys were there almost, I don't want to say to be seen, but like to say, yep, I was at bike night last night.
Yeah. Well, it was also pretty
so
cliquey
was this
because they
vendor,
had
this
groups.
vendor, yeah.
Well, I don't
So
know.
it was just different.
I felt like I guess maybe even, my expectations of what I was thinking the bike night would have been like was going to be more of like the people that, you either follow online or, I don't know. Like I felt like it was just another bike night, a Harley Hog member chapter thing.
That's
Well, see, the part that I didn't like, what Cody was saying, it was pretty small. Like all the bikes were lined up down the street, like a ways away too.
Yeah.
So most of the stuff that was there were just
there's some cool ass
display.
bikes. It was like way down the street.
Yeah.
It's a bummer you can't see them.
Yeah.
Unless you're walking blocks away.
So I don't know. It felt a little disconnected. Like, and I guess maybe stupid to say, but it's like for us, it's like we're riding across country, but you get off our bikes, we walk up to a bike night. We're just some other dudes, But
they don't know you.
With our bikes sitting there, like, oh man, you're those guys. You know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. It's like it would have been cooler to kind of have a spot where everybody was chilling around the bikes, and you can talk about the bikes. That's why our bike night works out so well, right?
Yeah.
Is because they're right there. It's like if you do something cool to your bike, we can walk over there and look at it, not 2 blocks down the street.
Right.
Because the tattoo truck's here.
Yeah. Well, there were people that were walking up, and we didn't see them pull up because they were down the street when they pulled up. So like at our bike night, we could see them right there from our table, and they're 10 feet away.
Yeah.
So
it was cool. Eric was there. He came to our bike night before. That's actually pretty cool.
I think that's great.
And he's from there. So, and he ended up coming over to our Airbnb that night, which we had a character for a Airbnb host. What did y'all think about that guy?
Man, I loved him. I thought he was great. Speaking of which, I need to leave him feedback still, but he wrote actually a pretty raving review on us.
For real?
Yeah, he did. And I think that's super cool. I understand that y'all might have thought he was a little high maintenance, but
I would have sworn
he was friendly as can be.
Bikers tore my shit
So
up.
I had mixed feelings of him, thinking like, high maintenance, like he was there pretty much every day.
He was there.
It's
every
like
day.
he wanted to hang out with us.
Yeah, I
and
think
that's
he
the
did
thing.
want to
Like,
hang out with us, but then
He did
we
hang
like,
out with us.
Yeah.
Dude, he had
every time he
hot-
come over, we're like, oh fuck, let's go get something to eat. We gotta get out of here.
He pulls up and he's got a smoking hottie in the car and he's like, let me go drop her off. I'll be back, guys.
Bring her in.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
Put her on the ping pong table.
Yeah, he'd start talking to us. We had a lot of things that we can relate with him. With the company that he works for.
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny that we just start talking about all this random stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like 2 hours later he's still there.
Yeah.
And he's just bullshitting with us.
Well, the dude was cool in a sense, but it was just kind of like I guess there's no way you can really. It's just like this, like oh, I spent $50,000 on my bike, like right. That's not a conversation you have.
You don't have to drop numbers.
Yeah, it gets kind of douchey,
2
right?
minutes into meeting you.
Yeah, it's like this house costs 1.4, and it's like doesn't have air conditioning. You know what I mean?
It's like fuck you, brother.
The house is dope. I really enjoyed that house. It was like, it was kind of like my closest idea of like if we were ever like all roommates hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
sure. For sure.
Pretty much all hanging out in the garage playing ping pong, getting drunk every night.
Yeah.
Where I was trying to sleep.
Pissing all the neighbors off.
The problem was like we were cleaning up the house on that Sunday. It was like walking around finding beer cans, like hunting for Easter eggs. Right?
It was definitely a good home base for us.
It was a good place.
in
Yeah, it was
LA,
good.
for sure.
So we ended up getting there. We ended up setting up, and that's when our buddies Jaden and Kyle from Dallas. They were supposed to be on this trip with us, but they both got taken out by sport bikes, so they didn't make the ride. But they flew out, and they got an Airbnb like walking distance or scooter distance from us.
Scooter gang.
Oh Lord.
So we didn't do much. All we did was go to that Killer Shrimp that night and pretty
Yeah,
much
that first
ate
night, yeah.
and just chill.
Yep.
And then the next morning, though. No, not the next. No, yeah, the next morning
day
was a free day.
Our free day.
Yeah, we didn't
Free
really
day
have
all
shit to
day.
do, right? And that's when you got fucking lit at the goddamn Santa Monica breakfast joint.
At like
Man.
11 o'clock.
Man.
You were on one.
I said
Yeah.
mimosas, man. They said
Endless
endless
mimosas.
mimosas. Well, what was it? It was endless mimosas for $20 or one mimosa for $13.
Yeah.
You tell me which one you gonna do.
Yeah. And then he was pounding them.
Yeah, he was sharing one.
Yeah.
5 mimosas in.
He spit it out everywhere.
He's spitting on the floor.
Hey,
Spitting.
it wore off. It wore off pretty
That was
quick.
fun.
Yeah, I left. What'd y'all end up doing that whole day?
What did we do after that?
Me and Cody went downtown. We went to Hollywood Boulevard,
That's right.
cruised down Crenshaw. What?
Yeah.
Uh,
Did
We
take us
got a
down.
picture of the Hollywood sign. Where else did we go?
Rodeo Drive.
Rodeo Drive.
Rodeo. Yeah.
What'd y'all do?
What did we do, dude? I feel like
We-
I
we
came
were-
down.
No, we went to the beach. Remember?
Yeah, we did. That's
Yeah,
right.
I went to Muscle Beach.
We went to Venice
Yeah.
Beach.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did.
We were there, and then that's when y'all showed up a little bit later.
Yeah, we met up with them a little bit after.
James was
So-
trying to dunk on somebody.
I did
out
though.
there.
Yeah.
I did though.
Why's James crying?
Just got dumped.
It felt great. It felt great. It's like I don't know. When I was younger, I watched White Man Can't Jump a million times, and I'm like, I'm here. I'm here right now. Oh, there goes Woody Harrelson right there,
Yeah.
man. No, I don't know. It was just cool.
Yeah.
So that's not Wesley that you're playing with.
No, I know. I was Woody. I was looking for Wesley.
Oh, this dude out there had his camera set up on a tripod, like filming himself trying to dunk and stuff. Like he was about it.
He can
I
barely
went to help
dunk.
him out.
Yeah.
Did you dunk?
No, I gave him some oops.
He gave him an alley oop.
Yeah, bro.
Shit.
Gave him some oops, some footage.
All white people are good at giving alley oops to black
Yeah, I
people.
did right. Dude, I ain't finna dunk no more. I did jump one time. Last time I jumped.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Like, oh, bro, I just got the rim.
What did we do that night though?
That was Friday.
That's
ping-ponged.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I know I brought 2 cases of that PBR Easy back to the house when I got back from doing that podcast.
Yeah,
And then
I think you
we didn't leave or anything, did we?
No,
No, we stayed in.
no, we
didn't you go see Britta's aunt that night?
Yeah, that's right. I went to see Britta's
And
aunt.
then you came back. And,
Yeah.
where were we? Or we went to? No, we went to eat at that pizza joint and then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Which the pizza was really good.
Yeah, it was. It was
Pizza was
dope.
really good.
What was the pizza spot called?
You went there.
Abbott Kinney's?
No, it was the one that was right over across the street. It was like, I think it started with an S. But
Shit, I can't remember.
not really important, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was right down the street
It
from
was
the
good.
place.
It was good.
So the next day was Born Free. So what's y'all's thoughts on that?
Way bigger than I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't think it was gonna be that big. It was
It's huge.
pretty badass. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
A
was
lot of
almost
bikes, a
too
lot of
big.
people, all the vendors that we buy all of our shit from, you know,
Yeah.
they're all set up.
Yeah.
It's pretty
A
cool.
lot of characters.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? You know, like my last, like I think I told you guys when we were there, I was like, man, it was not this big last time I came here.
It was
Like the grounds were the same as far as like the vendors and shit, but the amount of bikes that was just like pushed into the fucking extra field, and there was so much more people this
It
time.
was crazy. Yeah.
So it was and I guess also is like having more connections now and knowing more people there made it a lot more fun than just completely being a tourist the entire time, I guess
Right.
you'd say.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
you were off talking to everyone.
Yeah.
So
Just think about that butthole.
Yeah.
I missed it.
You didn't see the butthole?
Yeah, me and James missed it.
Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
the
shit.
girl that showed her spokes.
I did not see the spot.
Her balloon knot.
That's great. We called it though, didn't we say that? Like, if you want to get, you want to win the wet T-shirt contest,
you got to get butt naked.
Yeah, somebody gonna win,
or you at least got to just take your whole top off for sure.
Yeah, the other girls didn't even take their tops off.
Well, there's only like 3 contestants, but
you would think with as many Instagram chicks out there that they would have been out there fucking just doing what, especially for $500, dude. Yeah. Come on. $500. I'll show you my butthole for $500, dude. I even blow a kiss at you.
Like you were doing every night.
But anyway, that's another story. That's for the other podcast we're doing later. But no, that I thought it was really good. It was kind of, there was a part of me that wanted to come back Sunday, but just knowing our itinerary and shit like that, I was kind of like, man, like, all right, just chill with it.
Only thing I didn't like is all they served was fucking 805 beer.
Yeah,
that's the only vendor they had there.
That's a sponsorship game.
Yeah, I bet they paid big money for that.
Man, I think I went back and took a nap.
Yeah, it was almost too big to the point where it was a bit overwhelming in a sense.
Oh, there was so much.
There were so many people, so many things. Like I had anticipated going to this show and sending a care package back with 30 shirts or some shit that I bought at the show. Yeah. I left with 2 shirts, and they were the Born Free shirts. And it's weird. I don't know what. I think part of it was I got lost right away. So like for an hour and a half, because there's no service in the valley there at all. In the hour and a half, I'm looking for you 5 motherfuckers in a sea of 99% black shirts. So I'm like, I can't find nobody.
Black shirts and flat bills.
Yes, yeah, it was super fun. So it kind of spoiled it a little bit in that regard for me. But once I finally was able to walk the grounds and settle in a little bit, it was cool. But it was just so massive. It's tough to
it was hard. Like if you walked one area and then you wanted to go back to another area, it was a chore.
It's a long ways. Yeah.
There was a bunch of stuff I missed. Like when I went back again, I was like, oh, I didn't see that a minute ago.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember what shirts I got. A Bassani shirt because that dude from Bassani hooked me up on my cover.
Heat shield.
On my heat shield.
That was actually really cool.
I don't remember whatever ones we got. I got the Born Free shirts.
I wanted to buy more shirts too, but I just didn't. I bought 2 Born Free shirts, and then a couple homies gave me some, and that was all.
I had no room for shit, so
me and Larry left early because I hauled ass back to the UPS store to ship some shit home, so I didn't have to carry it.
And we did the same thing. It worked out really well.
Then I went and took a nap.
Yeah, because by the time everybody got back, then at that point, that's when we
went to the Cabo canteen.
Correct.
Yeah,
that was our last night in.
Yeah, that was going to be our last night with Kyle and Jaden.
Yeah, correct.
And in Venice, and the next day we were headed to Vegas. Do y'all feel like at that point, like y'all were getting tired or whatever? Or just like the energy was starting to kind of... I felt like mine was. I felt like I was starting to get to the point where I was like, fuck, man, like...
I think
we still got 6 more days of this stuff to do,
I don't think so, just because I knew Vegas was the next night, and I was like, I'd never been to Vegas.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I think that little day layover, that free day we had in Venice, it kind of refreshed me a lot, like just not having to ride anywhere that day. Even though we did, me and Jacob took off downtown, but
it was a choice.
We just didn't have to fucking do anything that day if we didn't want to.
I don't know that the energy was necessarily low, but what I've seen throughout the whole trip was that there's different levels usually throughout the courses of a day, and in the beginning of the trip, and I think it has to do with we're all coming out of like our daily routine work schedule or whatever. We're getting up for work early, so we were pretty prompt early in the mornings, right? And we got gassed later on, and that had, like you had mentioned earlier, kind of shifted to the point where we were sleeping in a little bit longer and we were staying up maybe a little bit later. But then there were a couple times where we'd just be tired, and I don't know. I mean, we're putting thousands and thousands of miles on, and we're beating ourselves up physically day after day after day.
Sure.
So
technically,
it's pretty tough to not.
We only didn't drink one day,
and that's because we couldn't find beer.
That's because when we got to the reservation, there was no beer anywhere.
Yeah. But the crazy, like when we say drink, we drank like hard. What, Big Sur? Big Sur was pretty much the biggest one.
Think about it.
No. I'm saying like
first night
hard.
Night 1 was the bar and 12 packs. You went to sleep early, and Matt. It was me, you, and Jacob.
Yeah.
That drank that night, and then the second night we tried. That was the second night we did the podcast. We didn't really get too drunk.
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
we
We didn't even get drunk at all.
Right.
And the third night we didn't. We just had the beer at the fucking place. We didn't even take nothing back to the room.
Yeah, because we had a long night.
And then the
Or
third
longer.
night, fourth night.
Well, I
was-
guess my point was usually it was more of a celebratory thing
Yeah.
versus
Right.
hey, let's go party.
Right.
type
Oh, I don't
thing.
know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I got pretty drunk in Los Angeles when I wrecked a scooter.
Yeah, you did.
That's pretty hammered.
Yeah, that one night we stayed up late with Jaden and Kyle and playing
Yeah,
ping pong and
correct.
shit. We
The
got
free night.
we got pretty tore
Yeah,
up.
that was that night. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the night there was beer all over that fucking house.
I know.
Oh man, I felt bad because the owner come up too, and I'm just like, there's beer cans sticking out of the fucking fence and
Yeah.
shit. He just walks up like, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah, we'll get that later.
That's right.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. But yeah, it was wild. So
But
go ahead.
I was gonna say, even you know how we talked about San Francisco was kind of bust on going out and bars and stuff. Man, I kind of felt that way in Venice too. It was just a different vibe. Like
It is a different vibe.
we couldn't really find like a poppin'
Our
good
groove.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
place that wasn't going to cost us a ton of money to
Yeah,
have a good
yeah.
time.
Me and Jacob went out earlier that day, and I think we hit 2 or 3 bars.
Yeah.
And people looked at us like we're fucking crazy when we walked in there. Like they knew we didn't belong in that motherfucker.
Well, it was
Like,
also the places you would think there would be bars at, like on the boardwalk, the Venice Beach. You would think that
they
they
would be
lined
loaded with bars. There was none. There
Well,
was
yeah,
like one or two.
that whole boardwalk closes at like nighttime.
That's crazy.
Turns into Skid
You
Row.
figure that would be the popping spot.
Oh yeah.
Well, is it any coincidence then that exactly what you say, that observation, whereas we made some attempts to go out to some of these places and we seem to kind of just strike out.
Yeah.
But some of our most fun nights, Big Sur, the night in
Yeah.
Venice or whatever,
Just chilling together.
was just us
Yep.
doing our thing,
Yep.
12-pack at the house, whatever,
Sure.
and it was just good times.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the next night was Vegas. It was y'all's first time there.
Vegas.
We're the real tourist in this motherfucker.
we ended up staying at the Caesar's Palace, and I never say there's a nice hotel. We got cheap ass rooms compared to what we usually pay there.
Yeah, it was nice.
I think Caesar's Palace took up half of fucking Vegas. That
That
place
place
is
sure did.
huge.
Yeah.
Massive, man.
So
Massive.
me and James hit the pool up, and that was the
Gang,
best
gang.
decision we ever did because
Yep.
we got to the pool, and then we ended up getting drinks and like $25 for a big ass fucking drink of like I had a Moscow Mule, and you had like a
Vodka ginger ale.
dude. It was perfect. I
Biker
mean,
game. Shit.
it was a good time, man.
Where'd we go?
We started walking the strip.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just kind of being tourists, walking strip, taking pictures.
Then
Fucking off.
yeah, so we ended up meeting y'all at the Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
We walked in, y'all were sitting at the bottom,
Yeah.
looking all in the dark.
Well, I didn't even know there was a fucking top level, so
Oh, that waitress I had, I didn't give a shit about the top level. I was like, God.
it's just pretty fucking hot.
Yeah, so we got there and went to the top, and then I don't know what it was. Like I kind of wanted to go. I'm not a fan of Fremont Street, as y'all could hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured that out.
Yeah, we did there.
And
I
then-
would-
Especially when you said, I don't like Fremont.
Fuck
Yeah.
Fremont.
Fuck Fremont.
but yeah, so it was like y'all went over there, and I was gonna go, and then there was an Uber situation going on. And I was like, you know what? There's a big ass bathtub at that fucking room. So I was like, fuck it, you guys have fun. I'm gonna go float in the tub.
It's the most
Yeah, we had-
ridiculous thing ever.
I just, I don't know when I'll ever go back to Vegas, so I just wanted to do all the fucking tourist shit, just
So,
see all the
How
main
like
bullshit.
what all took place in Vegas? Because my Vegas was in a bathtub. So
But we did. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, we
lived Twin
checked
Peaks.
a bunch of boxes that
Oh,
you
hell
would
yeah.
otherwise do over the span of a day or two. We did it in 12 hours.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know about you, but for me, it was plenty.
Oh yeah.
Because essentially you would do what we did, which was run through some casinos, run through some bars, go down the strip, go down to Fremont, go in and out of some casinos, check out the fountains, all that. Like we ran through that whole
yeah,
gamut of
fountain.
stuff
if y'all would have had the pool,
in
y'all would have
one
done
evening.
everything.
And essentially, if you stay longer, you just recycle and do the same
All
type
the
of
same
stuff,
shit,
right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
shows and all that. But
Yeah.
it was plenty, and it like you said, it's spendy.
Vegas
so
is expensive. Shit.
one night is plenty, as far as I'm
I think of that one.
yeah, right. That was funny.
That little bar in our hotel, I paid $12 for a fucking 12-ounce draft beer. It's like, what the shit?
Well, me and Matt come back early because I was tired after running through the fucking desert in Vegas. On the way to Vegas, what was that, another 400-mile day?
It was hot as shit that day.
Yeah, I think that was the hottest day.
Yeah.
I think the next day was the hottest day.
You think so?
And then walking.
Was that the day that we put the thermometer
No,
Yeah, that was
on the way out?
the way out was when we ended up stopping.
Is
At
that
the
when
big
we went to
thermometer?
Baker?
No, Baker was there
that's
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the day of Baker was the hottest.
I didn't feel like Baker was that hot.
I
It was
mean,
only
the
100.
thermometer was 100.
Yeah, that ain't shit.
I know it ain't shit, but it was still hot. It was really
The
hot.
next day when we left, after we left Vegas and we hit that what was that, the Omelet House? That place is good as fuck.
It was good
man.
as shit.
So that little town we stopped in right there in that little crack of fucking Arizona, we stopped and got gas, and that's where you lost your sunglasses at.
Yeah, fuckers stole them off my bike.
Oh,
That was where I felt like it was the hottest.
Yeah, it was hot as shit.
And then we ended up going through that little canyon right there, and it cooled off.
Started dropping,
But that little Vegas to that spot was just miserable, in my opinion.
Well, we were already starting that day pretty late too, so
Yeah.
that might have been on us.
We're barely beating checkout.
We barely beat checkout.
Yeah, it was 11.
Yeah.
We all got up at 9:45.
Lord.
But yeah, so that next day we had a 400-mile day from Vegas to Monument Valley that next day, and we had kind of planned on getting there before the sun went down. We didn't really have a holdup other than the fact that we had a late start.
Yeah, we just got up late.
Late start
Stayed
was
out
our-
late.
Well, every time we
Our Achilles
gassed
on that
up, we just bullshit for a little bit too.
Yeah.
Well, I think the stops, because it was so hot, the stops were a little bit longer.
Yep.
Tried to cool down a little bit more. Let the bikes cool down a little bit more. It ended up, putting us in a position where we didn't, unfortunately, get out to the valley until after dark.
But really, in my opinion, man,
It
was
worked out.
it was more better to get there at night and then wake up and just
dude.
bam.
Yeah.
I agree.
Where the hell did all
Dude,
this come from?
just that trip, just that ride, because that little strip I never rode before. So what was that lake that we ended up?
Lake Powell.
That shit was
That
badass.
shit-
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what was it? Pace. right?
Page,
Page.
Arizona.
Really
That's a
cool
cool little
spot.
town, man.
Yeah.
Because we were in the middle of basically nowhere, and we're like, where the fuck are all these like big $100,000 wakeboarding boats
Yeah.
coming? Like, where the fuck? There's no lakes around here.
Yeah.
Sure as shit there was.
Lake
down
Powell's
the,
dope.
it was real.
I've seen, like
real
I was
nice.
telling y'all, I've seen a lot of shit on Instagram. Because I used to have a wakeboard boat, and I used to be big into it, and so I'd see all these Instagram photos of Lake Powell and shit. Man, fuck that shit.
Just the setting.
It's ridiculous. It just cars through the canyons, man.
And I think
It's
that's
just,
the
it
part
might
that
not.
makes it
At
unique.
some points, it might not be 100 yards wide, and
Right.
it just cars through canyons and shit. It's so badass.
Because I mean, most lakes are big circle, whatever, some sort of shape. But it was almost like a river in a lake setting, and then not to mention the surrounding area was the canyons, and it was really.
What y'all think
a
about
pretty
all
sight.
that terrain? Like, because when we left there, we were kind of catching the sun going down through all those little, I guess, plateaus is what they're called.
Yeah.
I mean, it was different than looking at mountains. It was different looking at beach, but I felt like it was equally as like
Oh, without a doubt.
It
Majestic.
seemed like the further the closer we got to Monument Valley, they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was fucking cool.
Yeah, it was some pretty, like, that's what's cool about all that shit, man, is like, it's hard to compare, like, riding the coast versus riding through, along those fucking, those, what I just say, plateaus, to riding, fuck, man.
It's
like,
two different
I don't
atmospheres.
feel like you can compare them.
No,
I think you have to look at them as its
What they
own
are,
entity.
yeah.
There was a part today, dude. There was a part today on the way to fucking Billy the Kid spot where I was like, this is fucking perfect.
Yeah, this is
and it was
badass.
flat.
Yeah.
It was just flat. I was like, this feels awesome. You know what I mean? And maybe not as visually as epic, but I think it was also a badass today. And I know we're shipping ahead, but like we were coming in, we all fucking hit it. We're doing like 130 and shit. You could see so fucking far, and it was flat. I thought that was like just nice,
Yeah, it was never ending.
It was a little creepy.
So, but
It's a little creepy.
Hey, I
Like,
took
dude,
a screenshot.
I was like, I can't see anything. So
Yeah.
where's the next gas station?
Yeah, it's a long ways.
but back in line, I guess.
Monument Valley.
Monument Valley.
woke
We got
up.
to Monument Valley, and I've always put that place on such a pedestal, and I don't really have like the right words to describe it, but it's just something about that place.
It's just there.
It's just cool.
It didn't disappoint. for
Yeah,
sure.
so we got there. It was pitch black.
Stars were awesome though.
These stars were badass. You can just see everything. It was a little warm that night, so I didn't put like the canopy deal
Yeah,
on
I
my
didn't do
tent.
that.
I just left it open, And I woke up the next morning and I like popped my head up and so I could see out the top, and I was like, where the hell did all these rocks come from? These big,
Well, even the big section right there beside us, I don't remember seeing that coming in. It was so dark.
Oh yeah.
No, none
Yeah.
of it. I didn't see none. I thought like we just drove in on a flat road.
Well,
Yeah.
you pointed out the ones out in front of us. You're like, that's where the rocks are
Yeah.
over there, and you could kind of see just the like,
shadow
silhouette of
yeah.
them.
I didn't realize it like dropped down that much,
Yeah.
and they were as big as they actually were.
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of makes that place as special as it is that when we came in, like you said, in the evening or at night, it was so dark that it made all the landscape invisible.
Right.
In a
It
sense,
was,
right?
yeah. It was-
So it made the landscape invisible, but it made the starscape impeccable. And then we wake up and it's flipped on its head, and the stars are gone, and goodness gracious, we're in the middle of all these. It felt like I was on Mars or something.
Yeah,
it was
did.
wild.
I don't know what you call those. It
was wild.
It's just,
I looked forward to that. Like that was the number one thing I was looking forward to, just because of seeing pictures of it online and stuff.
Yeah.
just wild.
And it didn't disappoint by no means.
It's crazy how
whatsoever.
you can be mesmerized by it from the campground we were at, and just taking pictures, and just like how we were just sitting there on the benches just staring at it.
Yeah.
And then you ride around it, and then you get to the other side, and
gets
it's
even
just
better.
it's like another fucking
Yeah.
and it was you saw how many tourists that are there and shit. It's
Oh
like
my god, I got some behind the scene pictures. It's like 100 people lined up on the side of the road waiting to take pictures.
Jump in the middle of the road and take a picture.
ah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that view of it from the road, looking back at all that is totally a better view than from the campground.
That's like that iconic picture. That's what everybody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you see it, that's what you're seeing is from that spot.
Yeah, it's badass.
I don't know. I wonder when that actually like came about as well. Was it just from the movie? Was it a discovery that someone made?
Well,
that
think
this
about it.
is-
When
this
they
is a
did that
space
shit
that
in-
needs
in-
to be observed, or what?
When they made that movie, that Forrest Gump was 95.
You know?
It was the only time you saw shit like that was in fucking National Geographic,
Right.
like
Yeah.
magazines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I told you guys, one of the trips we were taking as a group, and someone tagged it on Instagram, and I saw the location. I was able to pinpoint it. Other than that, I have fucking no clue.
Yeah.
Like growing up, did you ever think that Utah was a place you wanted to visit?
Not at all.
No.
Like you'd say, I want to go to Miami, California, New York. I want to go to
Right,
fucking
right.
the Bahamas. No one goes, dude. I want to go to fucking Utah.
Yeah.
Like-
Like now, it's one of the best fucking states I've been to.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I think Colorado and Utah are my states.
Man, yeah.
That's just badass shit.
I thought it was just throughout the entirety of the trip. I thought it was very. I don't know. It was just where you were able to see the landscape changes and the color changes,
quickly too.
Yeah.
and it was so distinct
Yeah.
to the point where you've got the deserts and the sands that are West Texas or New Mexico, and then we're in the lush plush greens of Colorado.
Yeah.
And that transitions also pretty quickly into the kind of
Canyons.
plateaus and canyons of Utah.
Right.
And then suddenly here's some more green again because we're in NorCal and we've got farms, but then on the other side of NorCal we're on the beach. This country is fucking cool, man,
wild.
because
It really is, yeah.
it's so cool to be able to just spend those days and see all of those different landscapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually see them exist. They exist, but actually see that transition from
Yeah.
area to area is super cool.
That's why most a couple people here's allergies are so fucked up because we went through so much shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it now going back to Monument Valley. Like, we've been joking since we were in there about Forrest Gump. I think I'll go home now. But, like, you know, we've done been all over the place, and then you see something that great. Like, in the movie, he sees it, and it's like, what else is there to see now? Like, I haven't seen everything. That's probably the best thing I've seen so far. I mean, fuck, I'll go home now.
Yeah.
Sure.
So after that, we ended up going by the Four Corners and didn't really dig that. Huh?
It was hot shit there too.
Oh, Lord.
It was hot, but so if it was, even if it wasn't so hot, to me, if it was like a spectacle in a sense, then it could have just been like any other tourist thing. But it was
terrible.
I seen a chick do a handstand on the corners. That's
Back
cool.
bend.
Back bend handstand.
I mean, whatever. I'm sure
It's
everybody's
underwhelming.
gonna see it for themselves if they want
Then
to.
what's
but
your
Then we
I don't
heard it's not even in the right
anticipate
spot.
yeah? It's 30
really?
miles off.
Oh,
Oh,
30
that's
miles off or
disappointing.
something.
No, it's there.
Definitely,
I don't know if that's true, but
Four Corners is definitely one of those things like, okay, I've been there, done that. It's not a big deal. So,
never go back.
yeah.
It's not fucking buy anything either. That's the thing. So it's not convenient.
There's a bunch of Indian people set up with their jewelry and stuff.
Yeah,
but
like
Selling
handmade
snow
stuff.
cones from the 80s. Like,
Yeah.
come on, get some shaved ice,
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
dude.
crunchy ass shit.
Fuck out here with this.
Fry bread.
Yeah.
So we ended up staying with Cody, your people that ended up.
Yeah.
They used to camp at y'all's campground.
Yep, my buddy Cameron and his girl Cotton. They opened up her parents' place to us. It's a cool little spot. Had a nice little river running through.
They
Cold
fucking
as
set it
shit.
up. That was badass. We show up. They cook us steaks, pork chops, some baked potatoes and beans and all this shit, and laced it up with beer and
Cooler
like just
full of beer.
sitting outside and eating that shit was just that was a pretty cool experience, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then
It
we
felt about as close to home as we've had this whole
that's
time.
definitely the
You know what I
shit.
mean?
The only home cooked meal we
Exactly.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been eating out everywhere. So
Yeah. So we
And then the campfire.
Campfire was fun.
Yeah.
Matt went crazy with the
Cat
shots.
Morgan.
Cat
We've
Morgan.
probably been podcasting
That wasn't even
last
shots. That was just
down.
Lord.
Yeah, it was a good time last night. Or
Yeah, last night.
last night.
Yeah, it was last
Damn,
night.
we're caught up.
Damn it.
So we ended up
get
waking
cold
up
last night, though.
we ended up waking up last night on the
So it was in Minkus, right? Just out of Durango?
yeah.
Minkus, where we stay, yeah.
And then we went into Durango, had some breakfast.
Durango Diner.
Durango.
The goal today was for us to go from Durango, and we were kind of debating on going to Amarillo or to Lubbock.
Yeah.
And we came in on Amarillo, so we were thinking about let's go to Lubbock. It'll be a different scenery home. And the closer we got, the more we realized there was a storm kind of brewing, and we ended up catching the back end of it. What y'all think about riding through that part of Colorado, though, through Durango and Pagosa Springs?
I took a screenshot of the map where we were at, kind of by, I guess, Chromo,
Yeah.
Edith. Man, that was beautiful. That's probably my favorite part of Colorado so far. I mean, I liked the first part where we were hitting the big sweeps and stuff on 70 through the canyon, but like just that picturesque type area with the mountains in the background.
It was nice that area because it wasn't as many people, right? So
Yeah.
you're kind
Yeah.
of cruising through it.
I thought when we went through Pagosa Springs, I thought that town looked pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Like it just driving through it just looked like a cool town to hang out in.
I think there's a different type of coolness to that portion of Colorado versus like Colorado Springs,
Or like
Breckenridge. Breckenridge was dope.
So all that stuff is really, really, really dope. But it's also it's appealing to tourists.
Yes.
People know it's
Yeah.
dope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Whereas
pretty uppity.
You kind of got to work for like a Pagosa Springs or Durango. There's not like an
You
international
do have to
airport
work for it.
you
To
can go
me, it's more of a livable space. Like
Yeah, that's
if
what I
I'm
was
going to
gonna say.
move, I would
Breckenridge
move
and
to that
stuff.
space. Or if
Yeah,
I'm going to
visit.
vacation, I'm going to
Yeah.
vacation to the other space.
And it's
Yes.
going to be probably a hell of a lot more expensive.
Yeah, you know it.
Isn't it
But,
crazy how
when
like go ahead?
No, I was just gonna say like when you can drive through a town and it just you've never heard of it, and you're just driving through first time, and it puts out a vibe. You know, you pick up a vibe that's like, man, I'd like to come back to this town.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't stop, you know, because we were on a schedule, but I'd just like to come back to this town and kick it and hang out. It just looked like a badass town.
I would definitely come back to Durango. The the Four Corners thing would it gives it a purpose now to me.
Yeah.
If I were to make an effort to do that, that would be a part of the state that I would want to see
When
again.
is
for sure.
that? When she say that
Labor Day
was?
weekend.
Labor Day.
September.
Yeah, it's a good time. You know, I like that area. It's like a railroad town. You know, Durango. It kind of has that vibe of like, kind of like what, you know, because I went through Deadwood before I went through Durango, and Durango reminds me of Deadwood a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of has that little downtown area, but then there's still life going around it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of tucked in the canyon there. So I dig it.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how like we left there, so we were leaving Pagosa Springs, we were dropping into New Mexico, like how you saw how the terrain and the color changed from the Four Corners to where we stayed the night.
Yeah.
Like we were literally standing on dust, and then we're laying on grass and green and all this shit when we were camping that night. But as we were coming down into like Santa Fe and shit, just how it like changed from green to red.
It's weird, man. I'm just
cool or hot.
who draws the line? Yeah.
Yeah.
When we got too close to Santa Fe, should have got hot again. But it's like a distinct line that you just cross, and it's just, okay, we're gonna go to desert now. We're not we're not in the mountains no more. We're going to desert.
It
It's
does
really
kind of
crazy.
happen quick. It doesn't seem like it transitions very over the course of miles. More like it's like as you hit a plateau and you drop off into another type of of like
environment,
whatever
you want to call it.
It just shows you all the different areas of the country. It's difficult to try to pack out for 2 weeks like we did, because we have gone from literally a low of 30 degrees to 100 plus.
Yeah.
So, you know, whether it's extreme heat, extreme cold, rain, sun, we've been doing it all on a motorcycle, which has been the coolest part, because we've felt every bit of those.
Dude, last night when I drove your buddy's truck, I was like, fuck, this is weird.
I almost wanted to say don't crash it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean it's been crazy. And then like today, you know, we had plans, like I was saying earlier, to make it to Lubbock, which was gonna put us at like a 500-mile day, I think is what it was supposed to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool. I thought it was pretty cool, like seeing that Billy the Kid thing. It kind of put my mind into like those old Young Gun movies and shit for a while. And
Did you know that going into that?
Well, I've always wanted to go see that because, like I told y'all before, I've been to Lincoln and stuff before. I really like that area. It's very enriched with that kind of history of Billy the Kid and stuff. But I knew he was buried there, but I didn't think nothing about it till we were coming down the road and I seen that sign. And I was like, oh shit, that's where Billy the Kid's buried. So then I was on my phone like,
He's Googling this shit.
and I'd call him. I was like, we're 20 minutes from the Billy the Kid grave. I'm going.
He's like, I'm stopping. If y'all want to keep going, go. And I was like, no.
no, it was a cool stop. It was really nice.
It's
It
only
was,
5 miles off the highway. So.
You know, it's funny, like how someone like that, like someone's like legacy, can speak to people now. I mean, you saw like the shells and the empty whiskey bottles and all the things laying on the dude's grave. Like it's gotta, I don't know, like it's crazy how that dude's legacy was so strong that now over 100 years later, people are resonating with what he stood for, I guess what you would say.
Outlaw.
You know.
Yeah.
And then like I guess you were telling me about all the different shit that's like there's allegedly more than one Billy Kid, or all the different like you know allegeds and supposeds and shit.
So they say that that he wasn't killed at that time because it goes that Pat Garrett's the one that killed him, but him and Pat Garrett were friends before Pat Garrett was hired to hunt him down.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to say that Pat might have let him go, which like you said, it's over 100 years ago. Nobody's gonna ever know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, when you got a Lincoln and stuff, man, that's just everything there. Like I said, the courthouse is, exactly the same as it was when he was arrested there. Like they got plywood walkways through the whole courthouse. Like just gotta stay on this, and they got like old guns. Like this was Billy the Kid's. It was left here when he broke out of the fucking courthouse and shit. Like it's wild just to step back in time and just think, that far back what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to go to Lincoln now.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that brings us to Mule Shoe.
Mule Shoe.
Right after
Shoot,
that is when
Texas.
we ran into the back into that storm.
Yeah,
It was,
bad storm.
It was fighting us.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because the sun was going down too, and it was like, we're in like West Texas, and it's hard to, the wind. You can't see, and it's so flat out here that like easily can get some really bad weather real quick. So,
Yeah.
but then there's that part of me that was just wanting to keep pushing through it somehow. Like if I can just get another 20 miles, another 50 miles, that's less tomorrow. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I agree. I agree with that too. I wanted to get as far as possible, but I
think we
knew
got
as
as
when
far as
we
we
come up
could.
on that storm,
Yeah.
man, I just like, oh, we're fucked.
As far as we could safely, really.
I guess my main goal was to get for sure into this time zone because I hate that shit. Like I'd hate to like sleep over there and it's 10 and we leave in the morning and then all of a sudden now it's 12.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Well, so when I saw the storm, I was like, "Oh man, we're gonna hit the storm." But then the road turned, and it was like, "Okay, we're going to a less dark spot in that sky." And then all of a sudden, it turns back in the storm.
Straight towards the storm.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like, "Fuck."
It was-
dude.
what sucked is the storm just stopped
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't
lingered.
moving at all.
We
Yeah.
were treated to a hell of a lightning show, though. I tell you that.
Yeah.
Just
Did y'all
riding
notice
into
how
it.
with the rainbow, like just right on the side of the rainbow, it's super dark, and then if you watch through the rainbow over here, it was super dark on that side.
Yeah,
too.
but everything in the center was clear.
yeah, that was weird.
The further we got into the storm is like then the whole rainbow was kind of connected
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was pretty cool.
Then we got a full.
Is it gay
double
like
rainbow.
rainbows?
Double fucking rainbow.
So now that it's like, this trip's like, tomorrow it's over. So like I know we're all ready to get home, right? But I think that this is probably the most fulfilling thing I've ever done to where, because honestly, there's a part of me after Born Free where I could have blasted home. In my head, I really could have, you know what I mean? Or I could have like, I don't know, done something different, but I'm glad that we stuck to the plan and kind of, where in my head, if I would have been like, you ready to go back, James? And if you would have said yes, then I would have been like, hey, we're going back.
I know that about
But-
you, and I'm glad that you're glad. And I'm glad that you have that acknowledgement of yourself too, because when we had the conversations leading up to this, you knew that much about yourself that once you get to a point, like you said, when you're kind of over it, you're just ready to blast and be there. But we knew also that if we were to put things in place that had value to them, it wasn't just another random stop, then it would actually add to the trip. It wasn't just a blast home. It wasn't just a out there is fun, but the way back just sucks because you're only getting back home. So the rush to get home, I think we've talked about it before, is that if you were to rush to get home and you would have skipped some of the things that we've done on the way back, then you are sitting there on your couch or chair or whatever you're doing, regretting the fact that you didn't choose to make those
Came home
stops.
early,
and
yeah.
that's
Wishing you went up Pikes Peak.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, because I enjoyed Born Free, but that was definitely not the highlight of my trip.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
So now that it's all said and done, what do you think the highlight really is? I mean, a lot of y'all were stoked about PCH, but
I mean,
I'm in between.
Glenwood Canyon. Totally.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm in between Interstate 70 and Monument Valley.
Yeah,
Those are probably my top two
I'm
favorites.
really digging Monument Valley now.
I said it last night.
And Pikes Peak though. I like
Pikes Peak was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I said it
Pikes
last
Peak was fun.
night, and I think I mean all of these stops and things that we were able to do will forever live there, right? But the highlight to me, cheesy or not, is doing it with all y'all, and it really made the trip what it was, what it could be, and you can't replace that. You can't repeat that. You can't. I mean, it was so many firsts for so many people as well that you do that one time, and you can do a trip just like this. You can do a trip similar, but we had a bond that I think brought us all together to do this trip and continued to ignite one another throughout the trip.
yeah, it's
And I
crazy.
thought it
We've
was
been hanging
super
out for 2
motivating.
weeks and we're not sick of each other yet.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying you motherfucker.
There's no fucking way you could get a group of women together and they not getting one argument for 2 weeks.
Oh man. Well, that was adding with that, just everybody we've met, which a lot of people you've already known, but none of us has ever met. Like everybody we've met has been just fucking super cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it means a lot to me whenever, you know, the people that I know outside of my hometown, you know what I mean, when they did, you know, the people that came to that little bar, you know what I mean, that showed up. I know there wasn't a bunch of people there, but just the fact that like FXR Josh came out and Jeremy Lawson, the tattoo dude, and then my buddy Steve and B and Brian from that high class, and like all these cats that came out, like it means a lot to me when those dudes like come out, so that it helps, you know, it helps solidify like just you guys seeing that, you know, that it's a good time here. There's good people up here. Right, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
good people, genuine people. You can't just make that stuff up. You know, actually, when we were speaking with Eric that night that he was out to dinner with us, he even made reference to the fact that when he was in Dallas and he's seen it then again, was that what we have people. You know, the California thing is it's like an environment, right? We spoke about it a little bit in the first podcast, that it's an allure. It's kind of majestic in a sense, but when you have people that are in it, even speak to it to the fact that there's not necessarily the same level of genuine people there. You know, it's almost more posturing and you know, saying you were somewhere, that type of thing, doing it for the gram. It's different. So when you have people, like you said, around the country show the fuck up and reaffirm that this industry is built on the backs of these great people, it's super fun to see that. It's super fun to see that.
And all the people that are just, you know, with the problems or whatever, you just the people that are reaching out, willing to help. You know,
Shit, the
anything
people
you
cheering
need.
us on, like everybody we've talked to is like, man, that's so fucking badass. Y'all are doing that. I can't believe that. Like, I'm fucking
There's
jealous.
no way I could get that time off. You know, I'm so
Man,
jealous.
everybody's just like,
Well,
that's fucking awesome.
I always laugh when people like, oh, where are you coming from? Well, Dallas. Well, that's not too far. Yeah, but we went across half the country pretty much.
Yeah.
There was a couple of those smaller towns that literally kids on the streets or people at the gas stations, when they were honking and cheering.
Yeah.
How fucking random is that? It's like we're in a goddamn worldwide parade over here or something. It's
Wasn't
weird.
it yesterday? They were like, the person just yells out the car, I love your bikes, or nice bikes, or whatever, and then people are like, be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, we got cheered on fucking everywhere we've been.
And we're nobody. I mean, we're just guys that took it upon ourselves to make this happen.
Yeah.
But when we step back and think about it, you know, when we go home and we digest what we just did, we're gonna actually say we did something that some people live an entire lifetime wanting to do, dreaming to do, and we just did it. And I had a difficult time putting this into words, what it meant to me, why I would want to do something like this. And it was just something, I told my girlfriend about it the other day, it's just something I needed to do for me. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but I didn't want to be that person that at 60 years old, I never did the thing that I wanted to do most, type thing. And that's, sometimes you just have to put yourself out there and do it. And it's not always easy, but
it's a big sense of accomplishment.
Hell yeah.
You know, like,
tomorrow's going to be a little heartbreaking in a way, you know?
I just rode over fucking 5,000 miles across this country in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
300 in a tow truck.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool, man.
It is.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Like it's fun. I've done it a few times, and each time is different, you know. And it's different because of the people. It's different because of, you know, learning a lot of this. Like, I mean, I've learned more about taking this trip on this trip, but I've also learned a lot of my last ones that helped make some of the preparation for this trip what it was. You know what I mean?
Big thanks to you, man. You've been like our damn tour guide, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, like, even looking forward now, it's like, you know, like, I don't really know if there's like a route that I really am stoked about taking going back to Cali again. Like I'm not saying I'm over the Cali like direction, but I feel like there's so much to explore east now, and I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and I just feel like I need to give the east like a 2-week trip as well. It needs to be a trip that's like fulfilling. It's thought out. It's planned out. You're not like cutting yourself short, and really kind of put both sides of this country together and see what both of them bring to the table. Which like we were saying earlier, it's like riding the coast or riding down that cornfield today or just that flat field, going straight, or riding next to those plateaus and the sun's going down. There's so many different areas that may look appealing to some and not appealing to others, that you find it's like fucking like so transcendent to where you're like riding down this shit and you're like, fuck man, I feel like I'm doing something cool in my life. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I get like a different feeling through each environment though. Like I get a different feeling when I'm riding down the coast or a different feeling when I'm riding through the mountains. It's
big time.
I don't know, it's weird. It's hard to explain, but
yeah.
I feel like if you go east though, I don't know. I don't feel like the east is
it's going to be a bigger challenge, I think. So this was a challenge for us, but it was a challenge that was maybe easier to accomplish based on your previous trips, the sheer number of attractions or destination spaces pushing to the west. To the east, I think you're really going to have to push your creativity and your desire to love maps the way you do to find the hidden fucking gems.
Maps or the history or like even seeing this shit today, like the Billy the Kid thing. It's like find those little things that can take you off the road and hold your attention for a while. Yeah. But the Smokies are an awesome time. Yep. And that's really it's as much as I've really seen. I mean, Tennessee's great. The Great Lakes have something to offer. Yeah. All those towns, once you get up into like eastern Ohio and Pennsylvania and West Virginia, like there's shit there.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's so much history there.
Not just that. Like we didn't really do it on this trip, but you said it before on some previous trips. Like you'd come up to some kind of mountain and you try to climb part of it. Mm-hmm. If you're going out east, you can find like all the gold mining.
There's lots
trails
of
and stuff out there, and you could go explore that. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some ghost towns out there.
But too. What I also think it makes it better is like think about it. A lot of this trip we spent with somebody else, not in our group. Whether it was, Brian from TPJ with him, or the next night in NorCal with all the homies, or Eric down in Venice, or your buddy up in fucking Durango. Yeah. It's like we spent these time. Your buddies from
Canada, yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
So it's like you spend these times. It's like it makes it great too. It's like you have your friends you're on the trip with, but when you're going to see and talk and hang out with people in different areas, like that part is just as cool and fun as anything else.
Yeah, for sure.
Or that I think.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, it just happened to work. It's a small world, man, if you really think about it, because the people that we hung out with for a little bit in Vegas, this from Canada, I just met them like 2 or 3 months ago when we was in Costa Rica, and they was in Vegas the same time we were.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just weird. And then when we stayed in Durango or outside, they're really based out of South or Southwest Texas, so they just happened to be up there, at the same time, offered us a spot. It's real cool, and I've only known them people probably 6 months, 6 months.
It's also, that same concept of like paying it forward in a sense, but it's like, why I try to keep like my house, my home, my attention for people passing through Dallas, like open to where like, hey man, if you're in Dallas, I hope that it's convenient for me and my wife, but I hope that that I can accommodate, right. you and show you around or hang out with you or have a beer with you or something like that. And I think that goes a long way whenever you start putting that kind of vibe out there.
Yeah.
Then it reciprocates. And like when you go, like I think that's why Eric came and kicked it with us, because we did it for him.
Yeah.
Whether he felt obligated or like he owed it to us or whatever, I don't know, but it's just those kind of things that like, you know, it's not being selfish, more or less. You know, you're someone else is in your town, and you know you've been to the things that they want to see a million times, but you know now you're a host. Yeah, you know what I mean. You kind of got to be that host, because you never know when you might be sleeping on their couch. You know what I mean.
But sometimes I'm sure it feels good. Like I'm sure you probably felt it a lot of times on this trip when you show somebody something that they've never seen before. You might have seen it 100 times, but you show them something and you just want to see their expressions or their, you know, their.
Well, I guess for me it pretty much is that. It's like I'm not like the best speaker, or I'm not a writer. I don't really know how to put down, exactly like you said, how to put this shit in words for people to understand. So honestly, it's like I can show you. Yeah. You know, I might not be able to put it in words. I might not be able to tell you how cool it is to ride bikes across country, but let me show you.
Let's just go.
You know? And so that's my only really way of painting the picture for people to kind of understand it. So, you know, it's taxing, you know, in a sense. Like, fuck, man, I can't keep going back to California like this.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, when you create a group of friends, like, you want them to be on that same level with you and understand why Monument Valley is so amazing.
Right.
You want them to, you know, get a taste of what it's like to ride the coast, you know?
Yeah, and you post all these pictures and stuff on, you know, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and all these people, oh my God, that's so pretty. I'm like, and the pictures don't even do it justice, you know? I mean, it's just, you have to see it for yourself.
And you know, the crazy thing is, a lot of people, when it comes to Monument Valley, though, they won't make it a priority. They'll make it a stop. You know what I mean? Like let's go to Durango for the night, and then let's just pass through Monument Valley on the way to Grand Canyon. I've been to Grand Canyon. It sucks. It's nowhere near as cool as Monument Valley, in my opinion. You know, not to mention that the Grand Canyon has like every fucking tourist in America is there, so you can't ride through it cool. You know, when you walk up to the edge to look in the ditch, it's like you're literally with every Asian in America at the same time. You know what I mean?
Bro, back on them Asians.
He's just gonna hate you, man.
Nah, I like Asians. but I mean, like, you know, like, you have to experience it, and sometimes you have to experience it in the way that someone like myself learned how to experience it, because I did Monument Valley that way, where I passed through it, and the whole time I was passing through it, when I left, I was like, man, I feel like I should be there longer. Like, I felt like I didn't do it justice, and you know, so this is the first time I got to do it this way, where we slept there and got to experience it during the day the next day, because last time was when my axle nut came off and I had to find the next town. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's everything. I mean, hell, Born Free's fun like that way. You know, like the Big Sur, never camped there before, never camped on the coast. That was a different experience to see it that way. And it kind of I think one of the things that we kind of haven't talked about much, but I think we got kind of wore out with cornering and taking mountain roads and shit, because we kind of all agreed to skip Angel's Crest Highway. Yeah. And we all kind of like unspokenly decided to skip the $1 Million Highway.
Well, I think a lot of that too is that we started off running behind so many days in a row. Yeah. And we was like, man, I just want to get somewhere on time, and have, like last night, have an evening where we get there at like 3 or 4 o'clock and we can chill. Yeah. Like sit by a fire, you know, hang out around some chairs and talk and bullshit and just kick back, drink some beer, you know.
Yeah, because if we would have done Angel Crest, we wouldn't have been able to do anything in Vegas.
We would have caught the pool for sure.
Oh, shit, no. Yeah.
You know? It makes a big difference when you get somewhere before sundown versus not. Because when you're riding through the dark, not only do you start adding elements of danger, but then you also have pieces of land that you may have been able to see that you just don't end up getting to see, right? And it's you're just going to a destination at that point, as opposed to really capturing the travel.
Yeah. Well, then I think that, like, for you to be able to do those trips like we're talking about, like, you know, if you want to do Angel's Crest and go to Vegas, like, that needs to be a 2-day trip. Yeah. Angel's Crest needs to be itself a day. You ride it, you enjoy it, you get to a campground or a hotel on the outside of it, and then you're just chilling. Like, hey, we got here about 4 o'clock. We're gonna set it up. You know what I mean?
Just camp from
But I mean, like those are those dudes that are on Instagram that they're fucking on their 4-week trips doing what we just did in 2 weeks, but they're doing it in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just, they just have the time and the money to do that shit. And you can experience this trip in less than what we just did.
Oh, for sure.
Or you could experience this trip in 2 times the amount of time or 3 times the amount of time. You really could. And
less is gonna be
more behind.
It's gonna be a stretch.
And then
I feel
more
like
is gonna be too much.
we
I
planned it
think
out
we did it
pretty well.
damn good.
It
Yeah.
was pretty strategic, I think, with the spaces that we were able to designate, mileage days, that type of thing, a couple break days. I think we did it well. Our plan actually came into reality, and it worked out well.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Well, is this the first podcast you ever done in your underwear? I'll put you on Front Street.
Definitely in his underwear right now.
Yeah. Well, I've been sleeping with dudes for the last 2 weeks, so
Brother.
we're all comfortable now.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's time to wrap it up. So, cool. Thanks, guys. It's been fun.
Yeah, man.
Been real.
All right.
Brother.
One of the best things about doing these kind of trips is just, all the little comments and the things we do and say and we just end up having our own sayings and our own little, inside jokes after these trips. It just, I think they last forever. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys again, even though I just spent 2 weeks with them. I guess I'm lying. I don't really want to see them right now. I don't know. I had a great time, man. This was a really great experience with some really great dudes that were, just living it up. They were doing their best to just, stay in the moment and make sure every day they had the energy and enthusiasm so that the rest of us enjoyed the time. So thank you guys for that. And don't want to get too all sentimental on you guys, but I also want to thank our sponsors, TeamDreamRides.com. Check out John Jessup. He's got all the parts you need across the country. It doesn't matter where you're at. Check out their website. You can get on their online store and get all the things you're going to want for your bike build or project or customization, however you want to term that. And don't forget, you can use Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. TeamDreamRides.com and at DreamRidesJohn on Instagram. Check them out. I also want to thank TexasPerformanceMC.com as well as on the Instagram for everything you do for us. Thank you, homie. I also want to thank Kevin at Big Bear. You heard me kind of stumble over my words a little bit trying to talk about the suspension, but, hands down, the shit is the best stuff on the market. I don't really have the money to buy everybody else's shit and put it on my bike and say that it's better or not, but like I said, I've run a lot of other products in the past, and it just doesn't compare. There's just too much adjustment. There's too many things that make this suspension more valuable for your money. So check them out. Big Bear Choppers on Instagram and BigBearPerformance.com. Give Kevin a call at 909-478-7788. Let him tell you why it's the best decision you're going to make suspension-wise on your bike. I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake and PaintHuffer.com. Use offer code FASTLIFE at checkout for 15% off of anything you're buying from his website. I also want to thank Lindahl Brakes for everything they do for us over the last couple of years. And don't forget LindahlBrakes.com. Use FastLife at checkout for 10% off. And I also want to thank all you guys for continuing to support our podcast and, the Patreon and the other things that you guys have been doing to, just help grow this podcast. So if you haven't heard me rant about it lately, go to our website, fastlifegarage.com. And on the front page, there's a link to become a patron. And like I said, all it really takes is $1, $5, whatever you want to put down, but it all adds up and it helps us fund this. Like you heard me say at the beginning of this podcast, I might try to pull together like a plane ticket to go fly to Phoenix and just sit down with a lot of people and do a lot of podcasts and, different areas of the country. I might not be able to do these bike trips all year because they're very expensive, but if I can get on a plane for a weekend and get some podcasts for you guys, that'd be awesome. And that's where things like the Patreon is going to come in handy. So if you guys are interested, please do that. If not, it's all good. Just enjoy this podcast. If you hear something from one of our sponsors or one of our guests, please don't hesitate to reach out and let them know, that you heard about them through this podcast. And, it all helps us in one way or another. So I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great July, which is about to start very soon. So anyway, peace out, have fun, and ride motorcycles or some shit like that.